wala pibor Bin Bing William Atoyin Juba wala Tori Hey Ambio Bin Bing William Atoyin Benti wala Kwaju Hey wow Bin Bing William Atoyin Malkal wala Pinyaram Bin Bing William
Welcome everybody. Welcome to Lake State Media. My name is Abraham Medit Majak. I'm one of the hosts of this show this evening. My guest is Dr. Peter Biar Ajak. Dr. Peter Biar Ajak, welcome again to Lake State Media. I would like you to give you a couple minutes to introduce yourself. Who is Peter Biar Ajak? And before we go into the our questionnaire, so I have to play a 5-minute video. So go ahead and introduce yourself, Dr. Biar.
Well, thank you so much, Brother Abraham Medit Majak, for hosting me today on the Lake State Media. And let me also applaud you and your team at the Lake State Media for the great work that you are doing in getting the civic education going. This is very critical for nation building. So I really applaud you and the people you are working with, and I congratulate you and I want to commend you to continue doing that great job. My name is Peter Biar. I've been on your show several times. I am a South Sudanese, but most importantly, present today, I am one of the founding members of the Revive South Sudan Party. There is misconception out there, and there are people that are calling me chairman of the party or the party leader or any of these things. And it's important that I make this clear, that I'm not a chairman of this party. I'm not the party leader. This is not about me. It's not about leadership within Revive South Sudan Party. Obviously, we all agree that leadership is a problem in South Sudan. And we agree that this problem is a problem that needs to be solved and require all of us to solve it. We discussed this in the national dialogue. We discussed this, everything you know very well. Every time we say lack of political will, what does that actually mean? It means lack of leadership. When you listen to the tape of Uncle, former governor of Warab State, General Loa Yang, the situation he was describing is a situation of lack of leadership. But it's not about me as individual who want to be the one to replace President Kiir. It's about us as South Sudanese to sit and creating a space where we can think about how do we move forward? How do we build a system? Because it's not about one individual. It is about South Sudanese from all walks of life with different ideas, different skills, coming together and contributing each in his or her own unique way, contributing something special for building our nation. So what we have done here is to create a forum in the Revive South Sudan Party, where any South Sudanese person that believe that they have something to offer to the nation to come. And we sit here because we cannot just continue to complain that we have a problem of leadership crisis in the country, and we are not doing something serious and meaningful about resolving it, because there is no one else that we are waiting for. We are the people of South Sudan. This is our only country. So why do we allow the country to get to the level where it has gotten? And we are there. We are the citizens of this country. We are the ones that are entrusted by God with the management of land. If you read from the book of Genesis, Adam was given task by God to be the custodian of the land, to be able to preserve justice, to ensure liberty for all that were under its dominion. Now, this task is passed to the heirs of Adam across different parts of the world. And we South Sudanese are the heirs of Adam in the Republic of South Sudan. And we are the ones that are tasked with that responsibility to be able to take care of this land, to till it, so that there is prosperity in it. And if the leadership problem has become the reason why now South Sudan is the poorest country in the world, You look at the estimate that was released today by the Forbes magazine. South Sudan is the poorest country in the world. And yet, we are the nation of great abundance. We are the nation that is blessed with so much opportunities, with so much minerals, with so much wealth, yet we are the poorest in the world. This is because of leadership. So we cannot just continue to complain. And we know very well that this cannot be addressed in the SPLM because the chairman of the SPLM has virtually refused to get the cadres together for this issue to be addressed. So we have to go to somewhere where we revive that spirit. And there is really nothing sentimental about leaving SPLM. What matters really is about the mission. That is why we fought for the war. It's not to make some name or group of individuals how they arrange themselves, to be the gods of the new Republic of South Sudan. That was not the objective. It was so that there would be liberty. So we are coming here in Revive South Sudan Party, and I am one of so many founding members. We are working on our constitution. But the main objective here is not about being a leader. We have to build a democratic machine to be able to bring democracy into the country. And if we build this party to be democratic, to be run based on democratic norms, then any South Sudanese that has ambition and that has the capacity to serve our country would have a fair chance. There will be primaries within here, and then each one of these people will go on to serve our nation. But we are not doing it because of any particular individual. We are doing it because we have to rescue the country. So thank you very much. It's a great honor. And I look forward really to answering the questions that you have and to engage in conversation. And I hope you will give people a chance, Brother Madid, because this is very important. We want to be able to hear the voices of our people. Let them come in, let them talk, let them share their own perspective so that we really make this a meaningful discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Biar. Yes, of course, I will give a chance to audience who are watching you in Facebook and Clubhouse so they can ask you more questions. While before I ask you a question, let me play a video that you launched when you announced your party.
Full of hope, a vision. Fellow citizens of South Sudan, youth and women of our nation, today I stand before you with a heart full of hope, a vision that burns brighter than ever, and a profound commitment to a beloved nation. It is a momentous occasion, one that marks the birth of a new chapter in the history of South Sudan. I am humbled to announce the formation of Revive South Sudan Party, a beacon of hope, progress, and unity in a time when our nation yearns for renewal. This party is not just a political entity. It is a covenant that embodies the collective aspirations of every South Sudanese who dreams of a brighter future for our land. It is a pact we make with the memory of our forefathers and fallen comrades whose sacrifice paved the way for our freedom, and a commitment to the generations yet to come. Our manifesto, the roadmap we unveil today, is more than a document. It is a promise to uplift our people, restore our values, and forge a path to prosperity. This manifesto is a testament to the resilience, the unwavering spirit, and the unbreakable unity of the South Sudanese people. It is an urgent call to vigorous action, a call that transcends tribal lines, a call that binds us as one, a call that resonates in the hearts of every citizen who yearns for a better South Sudan. We acknowledge that the promises within this manifesto will not be realized overnight, but we lay the foundation upon which we build a future of dignity, opportunity, and justice for all. We are committed to building a people-driven economy that empowers every citizen, a nation where prosperity is not a privilege, but a birthright. Central to our vision is the realization of security, pacification of our entire country, and the establishment of credible and reliable dispute mechanisms. We understand the significance of stability, and we are determined to work tirelessly to ensure that every South Sudanese feels safe and can resolve dispute peacefully. Our manifesto outlines a clear path to a vibrant economy, grounded in massive housing, infrastructure, and energy investment that will generate millions of jobs for young people and raising the incomes of our people. We have engaged with international investors who share our vision, who believe in the immense potential of our great country. These investments of some $3.2 billion over the next 5 years will lay the foundation for a solid and sustainable economy that benefits every citizen, irrespective of their background. We must remember that we are the architects of our destiny. As we stand united under the banner of Revive South Sudan Party, we have the power to shape a future that is free from the shackles of division, strife, and despair. We must be courageous, steadfast, and unwavering in our pursuit of a South Sudan where every citizen has the opportunity to flourish. The journey will not be without challenges. We will face many obstacles, doubts, and naysayers. But let us never forget the resilience that courses through our veins, the determination that has carried us through the darkest hour of our history. Together, we shall overcome, for the promise of united, prosperous, and peaceful South Sudan shall propel us forward. I call upon every South Sudanese, from the urban centers to rural areas, from the youngest to the wisest among us, to join hands in this noble endeavor. Let us revive the spirit of hope, progress, and unity that defines the essence of our nation. Let us work tirelessly to build a South Sudan where every citizen can stand tall, proud of their heritage, and confident in their future. With your support, with our collective determination, the dawn of revivals await. Together, we shall rise, embracing the spirit of South Sudan, that ever proud and ever dignified voice, the depth of consciousness that yearns for justice, liberty, and prosperity. The future for which our martyrs laid down their lives summoned. And we step forward as a people glowing with hope, determination, and the unwavering will to shape our destiny. Together, we shall march our beloved nation towards a brighter tomorrow, where South Sudan flourishes as a united, prosperous, and peaceful nation for all its citizens. It is a great privilege to shine the torch of hope, progress, and unity under the banner of Revive South Sudan. Our march is an unstoppable march to peace, to liberty, to prosperity, a new era for all the people of South Sudan. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey, and we are excited and looking forward to a complete transformation of our country.
Okay, here you have it. Thank you. So here you had it, ladies and gentlemen. That is when Dr. Biar launched his party. My question, Dr. Biar, you were a member of Red Army, and also you are a member of SPLM party. So why did you resign from the SPLM party?
Well, I think maybe you should have shared that video also, because I've been asked that question several times, and I made that very clear. First of all, as I said in my previous statements, SPLM achieved its objective. SPLM was created for a purpose. Those who know the history of South Sudan knows that during the Addis Ababa Agreement period, there was a vibrant democracy in South Sudan. Even before that, during the independence period, a number of different parties were created that were advocating for a number of different issues. So it's not a new thing. This is something that is tied into our history. Now, the reason SPLM became dominant was that in the 1983, the struggle renewed. And it renewed through the use of the means of violence. And the main entity under which people of South Sudan united their efforts was SPLM. This was possible primarily due to the support of Ethiopia. And Ethiopia was very clear in ensuring that there was a united movement that could not be separated, so that it could wage a formidable challenge to the government of Sudan. So SPLM was created, and the SPLM was created because of the grievances that our people had. We know very well these grievances. They are tied to the history of Sudan and how Sudan came to be an independent country in the 1950s, the fundamental issues that were prioritized. We know that the country that was created in Sudan was a country in which particular ethnic group, the Arabs in the north, saw themselves as the first-class citizens, and the rest of the people were second-class citizens. And primarily we in the south, who were both African, black in skin, and Christian in our faith, or follow our traditional religion, were seen as backward and not civilized enough. So as a result, we were fighting to either change that country so that it become a country in which everyone belonged, and this is what the people were fighting for many years. Or if that was not possible, if the Northern Sudanese completely do not believe that they can be equal to people they call fellow citizen, then we as people of South Sudan deserve to have a right to self-determination. These were the main issues. And you saw when the SPLA was launched in 1983, the focus was so much on the transformation of Sudan into new Sudan that was based on the socialism, communist ideas of the time. And with the internal problems that we had that became to the fore with the 1991 rebellion of Dr. Riak with Dr. Lama Akol, one of the issues that was cited was the issue of self-determination. So self-determination became a very big issue because there were a majority of South Sudanese, although they supported John Garang, they worry that New Sudan could not be achieved even if the South Sudanese, all the South Sudanese and people from the marginalized areas, if they wanted the New Sudan so bad, but the people in the center did not want New Sudan, then it was not going to be possible. To build a nation, it requires unity of will, unity of purpose. You have to believe that you are citizens and you are equal and all of you have equal rights. That is the only way in which you can build a common destiny. But if you have a country where a certain group believe that the first among equals, that the first one to be served, and then the others come only after the interest has been served, then that is always going to be a seed of division, and it could manifest itself in fragmentation. So what we saw with the 1991 was that issue was it was a burning point. And when the convention happened in 1994, those were the two issues that were adopted: the New Sudan or self-determination. If you look all the speeches that John Garang made, and he made this very clear in the Venn diagrams. And I really recommend for our viewers to go back and watch those Venn diagrams where the Garang diagnosed how to end the war in Sudan, how to make sure that the conflict in Sudan ends. And he talks about three possible outcomes. You could have a status quo like what we had during the CPA, where you have government is semi-government in the south, then you have like maybe government of national unity, but you have your own independent thing in the south, right? So you have one country, two different systems. That was one outcome. Or you could end up with a fully united country if the vision of New Sudan succeeds, where the north and the south are really melting pot into one. Or the third, if that was not possible, you will have independent country in the north and independent country in the south. That's what ended up happening. So on July 9th, when that happened, SPLM no longer had anything new to offer to the people of South Sudan because liberation was now finished. New Sudan, because the New Sudan and self-determination could not coexist. Either you will transform Sudan and become new and one, or you will have to have independent country in the south. And the minute that happened, SPLM was no longer useful, and it required like self-reflection to see what is it that is going to offer to the people of South Sudan. And that never happened. This is the struggle that we have been going through since then, because we were supposed to have the convention in 2013, and we never had the convention. The last convention was 2008, and the focus was the implementation of the CPA, so that the right to self-determination was actually exercised, so that we go to the referendum and we vote. This was the objective. Now, after we vote in the referendum, there was supposed to be a new convention to actually think what is next now in the face of struggle. Because the reason why we had to struggle and to be liberated was because the regime that was created in the North Sudan was such a ethnic, chauvinistic regime that did not allow us to develop ourselves, to build progress, to modernize our economy, to build our country and make it really a world class in terms of services and excellence in terms of education. So we wanted to have our own government so that we could do that. So we needed to be liberated. So we formed the SPLM as a vehicle to do that. It has a specific objective. That was it. It was not to rule the people of South Sudan. That was not the objective that the SPLM was created. It was created as a vehicle for liberation. And it was, and you also know that we had the SPLA. SPLA was actually the spirit of the actual struggle. When everybody, when a soldier dies, you would first say SPLA Waye. You know, and we've seen this with our comrades in the Red Army. When someone dies, they will first say SPLA Waye. If we were able to let SPLA go and transform it into South Sudan People Defense Forces, then what is it about SPLM? Definitely we can move on. The purpose of the SPLM has been achieved. So when we were trying to argue within the party so that there is a way forward, you saw my brother when I was mobilizing the youth and the Red Army, and we were talking about a generational exit, as if it was something that I created on my own. This was something that we had in the SPLM. We had it in the bush when we were the SPLA, that you Red Army, you are the seeds. Are we seeds that cannot bear fruit? Are we seeds that cannot grow? Are we seeds that remain seeds forever? What kind of seed is this? Huh? What is it in those seeds, the seed that cannot flourish and bear fruit? Many of us are in our 50s now, in our 40s. So when we created this conversation in the SPLM, you saw how the chairman reacted. It was about us being detained, some people being killed and forced to rebel and then killed, and all those things that happened. So we had to come to this decision that at this point, especially now as we head to elections, that we need to really soul search as people of South Sudan and make sense of our entire history, the journey that we have made so far, and where are we going? This SPLM that we built it for a purpose. That purpose has been achieved. So what is next? What is next is for us to revive that spirit of working together, being one people, uniting shoulder to shoulder, and standing in unity for a new vision of progress, vision of prosperity. Our vision is to mobilize our people to realize the promises of Isaiah. South Sudan was always promised to be a great nation. That's why God put it in the center of Africa so that it is protected from the natural disasters that may come from oceans. That is why it is blessed with all the minerals underground. That is why it has only fresh water. It has the Nile, and then it has so many underground rivers. This is country that was blessed by God. And this is why it was prophesied in the Bible. This is our promise. And this promise is being prevented from us by a leadership that is only using our collective history of fighting against marginalization as the excuse for preventing us from doing anything worthwhile. Look at the government we have in Juba. It's a government that is not run based on your competence. You are not employed based on your knowledge and what you can actually contribute to the country. It's a government, if you are competent, you are actually become a victim. If you have so many ideas, if you succeed, then now people will suspect you that this guy won power. You are supposed to hide your ambition. This is what is expected of you in this government, that if you are an ambitious person, then you cannot have, there is no room for you there. No, We should embrace ambition, and we use ambition to propel our country forward. So we have, as members in the SPLM, as people of South Sudan that founded the SPLM and built the SPLM to become such a mighty movement that it became, we are able to withdraw our support from the SPLM and form an entirely different political party and change the leadership in our country. It's not as if this country is made by SPLM. SPLM is a tool that people of South Sudan supported. We provided our sons, our daughters. We brought our cows, our goats, our chickens to build it. Why? Because we hated oppression. We hated poverty. We hated a life where we were subjected to misery and disease. We wanted to have a better life. We want to live like our brothers in Kenya, with our brothers in Uganda. Look at Rwandans, what they have accomplished coming from genocide and how they have turned their country around and made sure that there is hope in that country. We want to be like those others. And we know that this country is great. So what we want to do in Revive South Sudan Party is to revive that spirit of patriotism, of nationalism, our moral values, the values of our people, and use that as an anchor upon which we are going to move forward into a new era of prosperity, so that we realize the prophecy of Isaiah, so that we make South Sudan that land that is feared far and wide, that is respected by all nations, a land of tall, great, dark, smooth skin, beautiful people, people that are united in love and in purpose, people that are shining a torch in the middle of Africa, a torch that is going to rejuvenate a period of revival in Pan-Africanism and in the collective search for our people position in the history of mankind. This is what we want, and this is what we are capable of. So we, as people of South Sudan, I personally have resigned from the SPLM because that vehicle has delivered for us. Our fathers and our uncles that built the SPLM, they have achieved great success. The Independent Republic of South Sudan, we celebrate them. We are grateful to them. We honor them. We want to put them into the history of our nation. But we, as a nation, we must move forward. There are certain things that we must realize. There is no reason why our mothers should be dying during childbirth. If you see now the maternal mortality rate, we are the worst in the world. Child mortality rate, we are the worst in the world. In terms of poverty, I said before, GDP per capita has been going down. We were the richest in this region of Eastern Africa when we got our independence in 2011. Now we are the poorest. That is the consequence of our self-governance for the last 12 years. Why do we behave as if there is a different country that we call home? This is the only country we have. And we cannot allow just loyalty based on legacy of struggle. We all were there. It was a great struggle. We lost great comrades. I mentioned all the people that I have lost. And even my father has bullets in his body. I have lost uncles, those of Majung Deng Biar. Every one of us, we don't talk about them, by the way. This is a problem. We need to mention their names, because these are heroes of South Sudan. These are people that gave their lives so that we can have freedom. We should be mentioning their name all the time. Why did they die? They died so that now we can be threatened in our own country for which they laid their dear lives so that it can come into existence. Why? So that some individual can go and sell the oil and put the money in their pocket. And then they think why? This is our country. All of us, we built this nation. And all of us, we bleed. All of us, we have a stomach, we eat. We have teeth, we can chew. You put meat in my mouth, do you think I will not chew it? I will chew it. And all these people that you see there, they eat. So we did not fight so that only few people will go and take the whole national cake as their own. And then they divide it. And you have to go to bush and kill people so that you can be given, you can participate. No. We fought so that this country can become a unique nation. A country that we can all be proud of, future generation can be proud of. Even other people in the world who have lost hope, those people may have hope again. That is why our country was created, so that it can be a hope to mankind, so that through our success, others may be able to believe. Why do we let them down? Why do we let ourselves down? So I resigned from the SPLM to awaken the consciousness of the patriotic members who fought to bring about this country. It was not one person who fought. That is why millions of people died. And we did not fight so that some individuals can come and have the country. That is not. So we are not against anybody, but we are for a new and better South Sudan. South Sudan that is anchored on hope, that is anchored on our unity, and that is directed toward progress. We want to build massive housing in South Sudan. We want to build roads. We want to bring in electricity. The country is being looted in broad daylight by JETCO. And our people are paying 40 cents per kilowatt of hour. And next door in Ethiopia, they're paying only 5 cents. In Kenya, they're paying 7 cents. In Uganda, they're paying 6 cents. We are paying 40 cents. And our government is sitting there that they have done something. We want to show people of South Sudan that they can be served better, that there can be a different party that has a compelling vision that is actually achievable, because we are writing what we have already negotiated, what has already been agreed, what just need to be done from day one. We don't need to do a conference so that people can come and talk. We know exactly what needs to be done. And we have organized resources. All these projects are costed. We have done our research. So immediately we come in, we begin, and we change everything around, and we build a country that we can all be proud of. So that is why I resigned, because there is a need for a new journey, a new beginning, a new purpose. And I made it clear in my letter to the chairman that is spirit that push us to realize this new nation of South Sudan need to be awakened. We need to honor our martyrs, and by honoring them, honoring what they fought for. That is what we need to pursue with all our energy, with all our focus. And this is what this new party is dedicated to achieving.
Thank you very much, Dr. Biar. Few years ago, 3 years or 4 years ago, I think less than 3 years ago, your colleague, Abraham Walich, and with his member, they formed a non-violent, it's called PCCA. And his memo, he said that it's awakening people of South Sudan. And I'm hearing you the same line, saying that your party is awakening the people of South Sudan. What will you make different, your party, from PCCA? That's that question. And second, as you can add up with that question, and the third question is, why did you form your political party? You mentioned a few of them. Can you explain the reason why you formed this political party?
First of all, there is a big difference between the Revive South Sudan Party and other entities like PCCA. PCCA is a civil society movement. It's not a political party. Its objective was nonviolent action, popular uprising. That was the ultimate aim of it. And we share their frustrations. But we as a political party, we are committed to democratic elections. And similarly, we are not there just because civil society organization has no interest in actually exercising political power. The interest is to get the people to wake up. But a political party provide itself as an alternative to govern the nation. PCCA was not saying that they want to govern the nation. They want people to go on the street, and if they manage to get rid of the government, then now the political leaders will come around and sit down and determine how they move forward. We, on the other hand, we are saying we are the alternative that can govern this country around a new vision. So we have an agenda in our manifesto that we have prepared. And we, through our members and how we organize now, because We are going to move now toward our convention. And it is at the convention that the leadership of the party is going to be elected. Because, as I told you before, this party, we have to build it on democracy from day one. It's not a party where someone announced themselves as chairman and they organize themselves and then the rest of the people come now as their members. No, all of us, we are members, founding members. And then now we will launch our party. We will work purely on mobilization and developing our policies. We'll also be doing civic education. We'll be doing a lot of activities to raise the consciousness of South Sudanese people. But our aim is to go toward convention. There will be a committee that will be formed that will focus on organizing the convention. When we get to the convention, then now anyone that has a vision will come and participate. But there is where we will organize ourselves. And after doing that, we will be able to form a shadow government because we will be now an opposition. So we will be able to form a shadow government. This is how it happened in democracies, because you want to show the population that if you were in the government, then these are the people that will be responsible for A, B, C, D. So we will be able to form a shadow government and show to people of South Sudan and the rest of the world that indeed there is an alternative that can govern the country. So that is our difference. But let me just add for the sake of it. A lot of members of the PCCA have contributed to the drafting of the manifesto. And by the way, the party is not for me. So, when you ask your question, you form your party. It's not my party. There are so many people that are forming this. It's just that now I'm the only one that is speaking up. It doesn't mean that this is how it will continue.
How many people, though? How many people?
A lot, hundreds.
Are they in diaspora or back in South Sudan?
All over. Of course, overwhelming majority are inside South Sudan, because this is where the objective is to win the election in South Sudan. But we also have members in the diaspora, because we realize that nothing can be achieved in the country without the diaspora and those inside the country working together. And that is one of the unique things that we are doing through this party, is making sure that members of the diaspora that are willing to participate are able to participate, because there are so many ways to participate. Even in the liberation struggle, not everybody, not those who were shooting the gun were the only one participating. There were people mobilizing money. There were people that were talking. There were people that were selling the message. There were people doing different things. So it's the same thing with this party. Members are going to join. There will be people that will be contributing money and supporting the parties financially. There will be people that will be on the front line inside Juba. There will be people that will be contributing ideas and policy knowledge to develop different policy options for Revive South Sudan Party. So all of these are contributions, So what is unique here is this is a party that we can all build together. There is no one that owns it. There is no one to whom it belongs. Tomorrow, on Saturday, we are going to have a very big meeting. And what we are going to do from there, we're just going to form committees. And we're going to go into action. We also have to write our constitution, because we don't have a constitution yet. And this is really an exciting opportunity for us to come and sit down and even learn about what is the point of a constitution. Because you don't just write it because it's a requirement, but you write it because you mean to submit yourself towards that law. It becomes the overarching law that everybody must submit themselves to. So we want to do it together with our members, with everybody participating and their voices being heard in this process. We formed this party because South Sudan is yearning for renewal. You hear this in the heartbeat of everyone you speak to. We are yearning for that spirit. When we raise that flag on July 9th, that excitement, that hope, that purpose, we want to revive that. And we want to use it to then build the nation, revive our economy. Can you believe that when we got our independence in 2011, GDP per capita was 1,500. Now it is 200. So it has been going down instead of going up. So we got to build this country. And we mean by building it, we build it physically. We build it physically by building new cities. We have a project that we have already costed. We have done a lot of studies in this to build 50,000 homes in each of the 10 state capitals of South Sudan. And by the way, we are not going to power these cities through generators. We are going to start initially with building hydroelectrical power plants and bringing the electricity from the oil fields. There's abundance of electricity, and then we're going to invest massively on solar, because our climate is very unique. Sometimes it can be raining, but the temperature is still high. So you could do a lot of research in terms of building different solar systems and how you preserve battery systems. So those kind of companies that are looking into the future, that are excited about new inventions and new ways of doing things, they're looking for opportunities like the one that South Sudan offer. We cannot have the entire economy rely on oil, ya Jama. Oil is only one of so many resources that we have. And the real resource that we must invest in are the people of South Sudan. The people of South Sudan are the ultimate resource that South Sudan has. And if we invest in them through education, through healthcare, jobs, providing security and rule of law, we will be able to uplift them, and we'll be able to change South Sudan and realize the promises upon which our country was founded. This is the objective that this party is formed, is to galvanize our people, remind them of their unity, remind them of their patriotism, tell them to unite as one people and move forward, shoulder to shoulder, to bring a new future so that South Sudan is able to rise, is able to flourish, and with it, the entire region and the entire continent of Africa.
Thank you. Follow up. My next question regarding about the registration. There are many parties that more than 30 parties that they are party, and most of them they are not registered. Will your party will be registered in Juba? And also, what will your party will be make different? Will be different than those 30 parties.
Yes, no party is registered, including SPLM. All the parties are there. They are still not yet registered. We are all waiting for the political parties council to be appointed. Once it is appointed, then we will have 6 months to register. So I have no doubt that within that 6 months, we'll be able to register. And of course, our intention is to register in Juba because that is the capital, and we intend to win elections in South Sudan. In terms of what we are going to do different, we are going to do membership drive. We're going to mobilize, and we are going to do activities, and we're going to do things. And we also need to educate our people. How do you participate in democracy? We cannot just say we are going to go to elections, and we are not even elevating the thinking of the people around the issues of election. So we'll be working together with members of civil society, churches, women groups, to contribute to civic education campaign. The same thing we discussed, that the issue of the constitution. Obviously, we need a new constitution. Government is taking its time. It doesn't want to begin the process. It doesn't mean that we have to wait indefinitely. We can begin by doing that. And what we can do is we can host events, working with churches, community associations, to have discussion about what do we want in the constitution. At the end of the day, is what people want that the lawyers then translate into action, into legal language. So we can begin to have those conversations. So we are going to do all of those things. We are going to engage in a lot of activities, and it's going to be an exciting period. We will be also contributing, showing the people that you don't have to wait until we come to power for you to benefit from our services. So we'll be doing a number of activities, and over the next several weeks, you begin to see them yourself as we do these activities.
There's Soma 1 and Soma 2. They form the alliance, non-signature group. Will your party join the so-called roundtable discussion they are talking about?
If there is a roundtable to discuss issues that are affecting South Sudan, we will always be happy to participate. It doesn't matter where this roundtable is being held. But our views have always been, if there is a need for any roundtable, it should happen inside South Sudan. And agenda should be very clear, because people of South Sudan have already discussed everything that need to be discussed. The national dialogue is there, is a point of reference. We had so many discussions. But yes, it doesn't mean that we should not continue talking. We should always continue to talk. But then it need to be well framed, and then we need to all participate in it. But I don't agree to the idea of talks that are happening outside. Now, in terms of peace talks, because there are also Soma peace talks that have been happening with the Rome Initiative, it's very clear that we don't want to be part of the peace agreement. Even when the current agreement was being negotiated in Addis, before I was detained, I refused to participate. I was invited to go to Addis. I didn't go because the first agreement that was signed in 2015 was violated in 2016. And then it's the same guys that violated that agreement that were brought back. And it was the same grantors that were grantors last time when the agreement was violated and they didn't do anything, that were brought back. So then how did anyone think that they were going to do anything?
Can you repeat again to those people who are asking? There are a lot of questions asking. I think these people just came in. They were asking you about your political party name. So
yes.
Abuna John Mayer and Nyal Malwal, they are asking you that. And there are a lot of questions that people are sending in. After I finish this, I will pull those questions up and then you can answer.
Yeah, and then what we can do too, my brother, once I answer this, you can begin to bring some people up so that they can ask their question, or those in the clubhouse.
Yes, I will be open.
Yeah, until the end. Yeah, but the thing is, the name of the party is Revive South Sudan Party. Revive South Sudan Party. We want to revive the spirit of nationalism. We want to revive our spirit of patriotism. We want to revive our values of South Sudanese people. We want to revive our focus of development. We want to unite as a people and open a new chapter for progress and prosperity.
Okay, the question comes to Ambassador Emmanuel Jawin is asking you, how can we have a roundtable in Juba when there is no conductive environment,
conducive environment? Look, I keep hearing this, but okay, if there is no conducive environment, so after you have had the conversation in Rome or in Nairobi, then what? Will they be implemented in Rome and Nairobi? You will have to go back to South Sudan and implement them. So if there is no conducive environment in South Sudan, who do you think will create it? Will it appear magically by itself, or it will be the same Kir that you want to be removed to be the one to create it? You have to go there and create it. So we are going there to create this space so that we can talk in Juba, so that what is said can be implemented in Juba. Otherwise, how is it going to be implemented if we cannot even go to Juba to go and talk in Juba? Or what is it? So this thing doesn't, I see the point. I know people focus so much about the issue of safety in Juba. Yes, it's difficult. This is the problem with authoritarianism. But people have to have courage. They have to summon courage and they have to go. I keep saying, like, we, the leaders of South Sudan, we need to be willing of sacrifice. We can't always be asking the population to be the one to make sacrifice for us. And we as leaders, we are hiding. A leader is supposed to be a shepherd. We all know the meaning of a shepherd. Shepherds give themselves up for their flock. People of South Sudan, they need shepherds. They don't need people to come and lord over them. So if we really care about changing the situation in Juba, we go to Juba. And do you think Kir is going to kill all of us if we go all at once? He's not going to kill us. But we all want to have others to fight. We say, go on the street, and we are not there to lead them on the street. How are they going to go on the street? So we have to go there on the ground, and then let's have the round table. And if now the outcome come, we implement them, because the outcome will have to be implemented in Juba. You're not going to implement them in Rome. And I hear this excuse, international guarantee. Peace agreement was guaranteed by the international community. And what happened? Was it not violated? And then what happened after it was violated? Did you see anything happen? Oh, yes, there was a regional protection force. And then what? What did that do? Huh? There was nothing that happened. So you go to Addis or you go to Rome, you say there is international guarantee. And then what? Nothing. So it's better we have the guarantee of our people. And this is why we have to form a political party, so that we mobilize our members, mobilize the people of South Sudan, because they are the ultimate guarantee of peace in South Sudan. They are the ultimate guarantee of anything that can happen in South Sudan. So I am open to any political discussion on anything, any issue of South Sudan. But if we want a meaningful discussion, let's do it in Juba.
Thank you very much. There's a lot of questions coming in. Let me pull up, because I have my own question, but I will mix up with the audience question. The next question is coming from Medit Jacob Panchol, which is one of having a political party. We interviewed him a couple of weeks ago, and he also, his party has been registered. He said, Dr. Peter Biar Ajak, we have so many political parties within South Sudan and outside with almost the same agenda, such as this is RSSP. How do you make sure that all these political parties come together and fight for the common cause? And second to that, will the Revive South Sudan Party operate online, or will it come to the country like the rest of parties? And you yourself, in particular, will you come back to South Sudan? Those are the three questions.
Okay.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Look, part of the problem we have in South Sudan, right? President Kiir, in particular, accused everyone else of wanting or power hungry. All right. So if you try to do something in the SPLM, they say so and so is trying to make a coup. So then everybody is seen as power hungry. And the problem is we actually feed into that. So if you see, for example, all these opposition groups, when they go outside, they go and refuse to unite around one particular leader. You find all these parties you are talking about, everyone has declared themselves chairman of this party. That you have the entire government that is formed, chairman, all of this. So it feeds into the same thing, that maybe we are creating these parties because we are just as power hungry like him. And he accused everyone of the same thing. And we feed into the same thing. Well, what is different about Revive South Sudan Party is this. I'm not the chairman of the party. In fact, I have no interest to be chairman of the party. We formed this party.
Who will be the chairman, though?
The chairman will be elected by the members of the party, because we have to start by first having democracy within the party. You cannot say we will take the power, and then after we take the power, we will do democracy. We have to start first by doing a democracy. So here in Revive South Sudan Party, there is no government that has been formed, that you come and then there is no deputy chairman or secretary general. All these things that you find in all the other parties is not there. This is not for me. What I'm doing is to create a space so that anyone that has ambition, but not just ambition, because it can't just be about naked ambition. You also have to have a vision of where do you want this country to go. And you have to agree that you're not going to get there on your own. You have to go there with others. Others have to be part of that journey. So what we have created here is a structure where everyone can come, be a part of it, work in it, and invest your time. So we are not coming here to talk about who is the chairman. And no. We are here to coordinate our efforts. And we are going to convention. Convention is where now, by then, we would have known each other. Even now, if we say we have to decide the leadership, how would we know that so-and-so is going to be the best leader for the party? How do we even know that I am the best leader for the party? I may not be the best leader for the party. But we may be united in the same thing. But if we get a wrong leader at this time, maybe we will not achieve anything. So what we have to do is agree to write our constitution, and in the constitution make it very clear what is the process for how the convention will be conducted, and then form a committee, entire committee that is independent, to then do the committee, while all of us come in and build the party. Let the people see what you can contribute. This is what is really unique about Revive South Sudan Party, is a party that is focused on getting to convention. And when we do our convention, we want to bring, we will see, but our members are very excited. People are talking about 10,000 delegates, 5,000 delegates coming to Juba, massive number of delegates, so that you really have a serious consensus of where the country should go. When you bring these delegates to Juba, now different people within the party who want to run now for the position that will be specified in the constitution, they will now run. And whoever that has the trust of the members, it is the members now that will decide. So and so is elected. It's not me deciding or anyone. And why should I even decide? Because we are joining together here in a common action. It's not me who is working to achieve anything. And I see a brother here who want to be Secretary General. That is wonderful. You're welcome. But I'm not going to appoint you Secretary General because I have no power to appoint you, because I'm just a member like all the other members. But what we are going to do is, we are meeting tomorrow, by the way, at 11 o'clock Eastern time. You should contact our members to get the Zoom link. But what we are going to do is organize ourselves into committees. We need to mobilize people. We need to, begin civic education, and we need to educate our people. We need to begin developing specialized policies. Revive South Sudan is something we can build together. Someone asked here, what are the basic requirements? Basic requirements are this. First, you have to obviously be a South Sudanese. That is the only way you can participate in this. But second, you have to believe in nonviolence. You cannot believe in rebellion and then you want to be our member. You have to believe in nonviolence action. Number three, you have to read our manifesto, and you have to understand what is our vision there, and you have to agree to it. You also have to have courage, because we are going to challenge this system. And someone asked before whether I'm coming to Juba. Yes, I am coming to Juba. And I'm not just going to Juba. I'm going to Juba so that I can travel to Awil. Last time I was trying to travel to Awil and I was detained. I still need to travel to Awil. And not just only to Awil, I want to go to Kwajok, I want to go to Bor, I want to go to Rumbek, I want to go to Kapoita, I want to go to Nasser, I want to go to Torit, I want to go to Malakal, I want to go to Bentiu, to Mayom. So all these places I want to go. So I am going to go. People who want to join our party, they need to contact us. There is our social media account that we have created. Is on Facebook. There is a WhatsApp group. There is you could follow our Twitter account. You join. Let us build this. There is no limit to what anyone can become in this party, because it's such a fresh blank slate. You don't have to have been a general or have joined SPLA, SPLM in 1980. What? You don't need to. You just need to be a South Sudanese. You need to believe in nonviolent civil action. You need to be patriotic. You need to have discipline.
Okay.
You need to have loyalty. You cannot join us, not loyalty to individual, like me as a person, but you have to have loyalty to Revive South Sudan Party. This culture of people coming, defecting tomorrow, that thing, we don't want it in our party.
Okay, there are a lot of people in Club I want to give them a chance so that they can ask a question. Before I give these people, the people in Club a chance, I have two questions that I want to tie them up so you can answer them up at the same time. And then I will give a chance to the people in Clubhouse. First question. A lot of people feel that you have formed this political party just to challenge the president here because he jailed you 3 years ago. Okay. And what do you say about that? And second part about security. So you for your you left South Sudan due to your security concern. Is your security guarantee if you return to South Sudan? So I would like you to answer those two questions at once, and then I will yield my microphone back to Clubhouse for those people who have questions. Thank you.
First of all, we are not forming this party simply to challenge President Kiir. Obviously, elections require contestation of ideas. This is necessary, it needs to be done. But we are forming this political party because there is really a need for revival in the entire country. That spirit of young people is going to waste, is not being used well, is being used for destruction. And the young people of the country are just yearning for something positive to which they can contribute their energies. So someone has to meet that. And we in the Revive South Sudan Party want to use that energy of the young people to transform the mind of our people, especially when it comes to civic and political issues, so that our people truly understand all the political matters that are taking place in their country. Now, the elections are coming up. There's no doubt about it. And the election provide a very good opportunity for us to do this very effectively. Because the election now is going to provide political space. As you know, our president has declared that now all the parties can campaign. He did his own campaign in WOW, and I understand that other campaigns are being in a plan. So members of the SPLM are busy doing that. And the other parties, you saw Angelina Tench was in Malakal, launching offices of the SPLM-IO, and all the other parties are doing the activities. So it is a free time. People are coming. There is an election. Everybody's excited about it, and everybody is contributing. Now, you asked me about my security, and I keep hearing this question. Yes, I left the country. When I left Juba, I wanted to go for a medical checkup because, I was detained for 2 years. That 2 years, I was denied any ability to have a medical attention. When I came out, I was in a terrible situation because the conditions in the prison were terrible. And then, of course, with the incident that happened with Carbino, there was all these cooked up ideas and people want to implicate me, and my life was in danger. So I had to come here. But as I mentioned, when I made my apology to the president, is because I had forgiven all of those things. That's why I was willing to open a new page, to be able to say, yes, if there is areas where we reach which are not where we're supposed to be dwelling, then I apologize. But here was the issue. Here is where our differences were. I meant it so that it was clear exactly what our differences are, and those differences have never been addressed. So that issue is the issue that we have forgotten. Also, my brother, inside Juba right now, everybody is back. Those who have killed people that have rebelled, warlords, bandits, all kinds of individuals, they are back in the capital and they are okay. Some of them are even ministers. Some of them are in a serious position of government in the country. Yet they kill people. And there are a lot of evidence. There are people that have been sanctioned that are inside the capital. There are all kinds of people that are in Juba. And they are safe. They are being protected by the government. So I believe if the government can protect all those people without any incident, then I don't see any problem with me coming. Also, if they don't want to provide me security, then let them say, who do they want me to provide security? They are the one that claim to be a sovereign government in South Sudan. And by the virtue of their sovereignty, they're the one that can provide security in South Sudan. So I think they will provide me security. And if they can't, let them explain why. The Major General of the police is there. Many of you in the media, you interview him. Ask him why is the government of South Sudan, they're able to provide security for 12 million people in the country, minus Peter Biar. What is it? Is because to protect me require extra troops to be hired and be trained, and arm embargo to be lifted so that there are arms that are brought in so that I am protected? No. So I think the government can provide my security. So I don't think there is any incident, and I don't have any personal problem with anybody. I have never killed anyone. I have never done anything. I have no family feud. So my family is expecting me. My relatives are expecting me. And my supporters are expecting me. I was born inside South Sudan, is where God wanted me to flourish, is where I was supposed to have roots, is where the tree that can grow, and then the shadow can now be given to the whole world. But that tree is coming from South Sudan. So I'm coming back home. I'm going to be in our country in solidarity with young people. And we are going to bring a new era of peace and prosperity, unite the people of South Sudan behind a new vision, get them to dream again, get them to hope again, get them to believe. And they have to remember that God has never given up on them. God has always knew that they were capable of doing great things, but there is time for everything. And now the hour of darkness is giving way to a new dawn. And light will shine over our entire country. We will celebrate again, just as we used to be so sad, we'll be so happy. Just as we used to weep, we will shout in joy. Just as we used to suffer, we will celebrate. So those days are coming, and I want everyone, especially the young people of South Sudan, to prepare to receive the blessing of God Almighty.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Biar. Let me give this chance to people in Clubhouse. I will give this chance to, please, for those of you, I would like you just ask a question within 1 minute, because I see a lot of people want to come up. So only 1 minute or two, so that you can ask just question. So the next, that Lion, you are the one who will ask your question. Please, I would like you to introduce yourself, your real name, and then put in your question. And then followed by with your Lion, if you can hear me, open your mic. Okay, Lion, are you there? Okay, if Lion, if you are not there, I will move you down. So the next one is with York. If you are there, open your mic.
Thank you. I had a problem with opening the mic because my telephone fell down and I was trying to struggle to get the mic.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Okay, go ahead.
First of all, thank you, Comrade Madit. And
can you hear him, right?
The person who is moderating, I see MA, but I don't see the other one. I have this issue of the screen broken. Sorry for that inconvenience. I salute the South Sudan Eagle Media, and also acknowledge your guests, Dr. Biar Ajak, and those listeners down here, those in the panel. Well, first of all, my name is Bul Agwer Bior, and I salute Dr. Biar Ajak for coming out to explain about the new party and his vision, the vision of the new party. My question, the reason I came up here, is to ask Comrade Biar, with his new party, there are so many parties out there, and I think the best solution for South Sudanese new political parties who share a common agenda of a non-violent, and they are daring to go to South Sudan to be there, bring change inside the country, not outside the country, not as a rival, but as the real political parties. Is Biar new political party, do they have a space for coming together with other political parties, a unity of opposition parties who have a common agenda of bringing a change? Because I heard him talking about the party of the young generation. There are parties already formed. Among them is Common People Alliance. Is Biar willing, Biar and his colleague, are they willing to form an alliance? We can become permanently a party in the future. Because I know all the 60 parties or more, they will become, South Sudan may have 3 parties in the future or 2. What is his part? What is his perspective? That is the question. If the question is not clear, please go.
I think,
ask me that.
yeah, thank you. You got it. Thank you, Lion Bull. The next one, let me get two at a time so that you can, Ujok, it's your turn, go ahead.
Thank you, Madit, for bringing expert Dr. Peter Biar. Let me greet Dr. Peter Biar. My questions to Dr. Peter Biar, the expert, is that there are questions here in clubhouses that is confusing a lot of people. A lot of experts have written books about these ethnic, chauvinistic people who are ruling with Kir. Let me just say they are being termed as Jeng or Denka, which is just 1%, but the 99% of Denkas are innocent. So what is your own narrative or description about differentiating between the 1% who are beneficial of Kir Mayardit power corruption and the 99% Jeng who are innocent? Can you come up with a narrative of your own to try to convince us that it's not the whole Jeng that are beneficial of this ethnic chauvinistic regime of Kir? Another question is that, do you regret writing these draconian laws of the national security? Because I heard that you're one of the people, expert who wrote this Gestapo national security law. Do you regret writing this law, which is being misused by Kolkul? And as a brother from Bo, do General Majaragot regret creating a blue house where you were in prison instead of creating a police college in Bor, Rumbek, Malakal? What was the reason for Majaragot to create a blue house with Salagosh, which you happen to be a victim of that? Is he now regretting for creating this blue house? Could it not been used as a police police college instead of blue house for torturing people like the Nazis era? Last but not least, we really don't know who you are. Can you just tell us a little autobiography about yourself? Because by then, before the war, we used to have a very famous footballer called Biar Ajak. Is he your father or are you related to him? But what we want to know, who are you actually? Can you just tell us a little autobiography about yourself? And thank you.
Thank you, Ujok. Dr. Biar, go ahead and answer those questions.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Let me start by sharing a bit of myself from Ujok. I think that might be a very good beginning. So my name is Peter Biar Ajak. I come from Jonglei State. Yes, I come from Bor. My Payam is Nuak Payam, is in Twitch East County. That is where I hail from. I grew up primarily during the liberation struggle in the Red Army. And then after that, I was in Kakuma refugee camp. And then from Kakuma refugee camp, I came to the United States as one of the Lost Boys of Sudan. I first settled in Philadelphia. I went to school in Philadelphia, went to high school, did my undergraduate there at LaSalle University, then went on to Harvard University, where I finished my master's. And then after finishing my master's, I returned to South Sudan. I joined the World Bank as the country economist for South Sudan, primarily advising the government on economic policy. One of the major tasks that we did was the development plan, the South Sudan development plan for 2011 to 2013. I also contributed to the drafting of the Vision 2040, representing the World Bank there. But then I was convinced by General Oyai Dengajak, who was the former chief of general staff, and by then was the Minister of Investment, because I had helped him in writing the investment law and establishing the Ministry of Investment, to join him in the national security. This is at independence, when the national security was established. At the time, there was a lot of excitement about the new nation. You remember very well how excited we were. We wanted to build a country that was entirely different from what we inherited from Khartoum. And we want to make sure that we build institutions right from the get-go. And if you remember from our entire experience, the intelligence services have always been used by the North to perpetuate dictatorship because they end up upholding personal rule and being reduced to regime security services rather than being national security services. So from the very beginning, we wanted to use that. My relationship with WEI goes back to the time when I was in the Red Army and in the SPLA. And when they were in the Ministry of Defense, I used to also go and talk to our generals about how they can manage resources better. The SPLA has always used to spend 40% of the resources, and there was a lot of issues. So I developed some programs to get them to understand the importance of development to security. So that nexus of development and security was something that I emphasize a lot. So when he had a chance to become the Minister of National Security, he wanted that thinking because by then, African unions, the African Security Sector Network, and all the other different institutions and areas of experts on security, they were focused on something called human security. Human security is a way of thinking, a doctrine of security, where the focus is on human beings, serving the citizens, make sure that the citizens are secure. So here you have to think of security from a very wider perspective. You cannot think only about the security of the state or the security of the regime. Yes, the security of the state is important. We should not even be doing the regime security because the objective of those institutions is not to ensure regime security, but to ensure the security of the people, to ensure the security of the state. So Joroya wanted me to bring in this thinking because we were now building a new country, new intelligence services, and it was important that they were anchored on a strong foundation that recognized human rights, fundamental freedoms, and the rule of law. That is why I went there. So when we went there, we wanted to do that first by doing the South Sudan national security policy, and then also by drafting the national security bill, thinking about the structures of the national security service. None of the things that we did succeeded. Why? Because a power struggle already began to emerge. And you know this very well. In 2012, the SPLM sent people to the grassroots to go and thank people for voting for the independence. And what the people said was that they were not happy with how the SPLM has performed. And that kicked off the power contest within the SPLM. Dr. Riak became very critical of the President Kiir. Secretary General Pagana Amum was also showing interest in running, and then the president was using his powers as a chairman and also the president to keep himself in position of power. And one of the things he did in this role was to ensure that all the reforms that we were fighting for in the national security did not go anywhere, including the South Sudan national security policy, which was developed. Everybody contributed into it: the military, the security service, the parliament, the judiciary, all the state governments. They all contributed into it, but in the end, it went nowhere because it tried to create a national security architecture for South Sudan, a structure of decision making where the national security decisions are not just made by the president, but they are made by a group of people. So decisions have to be made, and by law, have to be made within these structures: National Security Council. And then there has like a secretariat with a permanent staff that are working, because the national security is not just only army, police, and defense. It involves also the finances. It involves currency. It involves like rule of law. It involves disease, like when something like COVID happened. It involves like other emergencies that may affect the country. So there are particular institutions that you have to work with, and there has to be a secretariat that can coordinate this and ensure that the president is doing his job. But by then, the president has already realized that he was losing support in the SPLM, and he became so dependent on the security institutions. So in a state of having a national security that was anchored on the vision of human security, you end up having an institution that was reduced to just regime security that focused on ensuring the survival of the regime. There was a huge power struggle in this because the minister and myself, we tried to fight back. But you know how the story ended. July 2013, the president fired the minister, and not just only the minister, but the entire cabinet. And then the new minister that came in, Isaac Mahmoud, was not focused on the same thing. So I left the government in September 2013. The national security law that you are referring to is the one that was passed in October 2014. And that is an entirely different law. If you look at that law, most of it is actually copy and paste of the National Intelligence and Security Service law that the SPLM rejected, that the Khartoum was trying to pass in 2010 and 2009. So I was never part of drafting that particular bill. The bill that we drafted, only limit the mandate of the national security to collecting intelligence. The bill that I was part of did not give national security the power to arrest. The bill that I was part of did not give national security the power to have all these massive weapon to the extent that they can challenge the national army. That was not the bill that I was part of. So the bill that is now in force is entirely a different bill. And I've been on the forefront from the very beginning, criticizing it as unconstitutional. You have seen in the Contemporary Geneva Forum, we provided like an entire analysis of the national security bill. And there was an entire series that was devoted to discussing the national security and the role in reducing the political space within the country. So that is very important for me to clear and for people to understand. As for Dr. Majak, that one is something that you can ask him. But here is what I remember of the national security and the Blue House when it was established. Blue House was never meant to be a prison because National Security Service was not supposed to have powers to arrest anyone. It was meant to be the headquarters of the intelligence services. That was it. And you need that. You need those institutions. We need National Security Service. It's because now we have individuals that are misbehaving and that they're misusing the mandate of the security service. But you need intelligence services. You cannot reinvent the wheel. Government cannot perform without intelligent institutions. They play a critical role in the process of decision making and in terms of finding out the risk to the country and assessing them and helping the state and the government to prioritize how to serve the people. So they are critical institutions. We need them, and they need places where they can operate. So I don't think it was a mistake to ensure that the future intelligence services of South Sudan have a headquarter in which they can operate. They need. But I also agree with you that we do need police colleges. We need to invest in actually educating members of the security service so that they understand that no one has a problem with them. But they are not above the law. The reason why they are there is to ensure that there is law and that all of us are safe and they are protected and that we are able to follow the laws of the country. Yes, we recognize that the country is divided. We know that there are divisions. There are all kinds of things out there. But we also believe in the power of South Sudan. We also believe in the power of unity. The government we have is not entirely a Dinka government. And I have to make this very clear because I have made it clear before to the Dinka Council of Elders when they were very influential. I have gone to them and warned them about their behavior. This government is not a Dinka government. It's a government that belong to a clique of individuals. These individuals, of course, they are being spearheaded by a Dinka person in the form of President Kiir. But the people within this network that are eating the oil of South Sudan are not just Dinkas. It's a network of individuals. Of course, they're disproportionately Dinka, and not just a whole Dinka from certain sections, actually. We all know that. So you cannot say that the government belongs to the Dinka because majority of Dinka people are suffering. Even from some of the areas where some of these leaders come, people are suffering. I've been to Akun before, and I've been to Werap. I've seen with my own eyes the state of underdevelopment. And when you try to explain where has the oil money since 2005 gone, they're not here in South Sudan. People will have to tell us one day where they have taken this money, but it's not here inside South Sudan. It's abroad. So all these people are suffering. So I don't see any problem. Already, majority of people that are actually confronting the government are Dinkas. And you see the price that we pay. You see like what happened to George Athor when he opposed this government, he was killed. You saw what happened to Carbino when he opposed this government, he was killed. You saw what happened to Abraham Ajak, he was killed. And so many, like those of Lola Khan who were murdered in the prison, they were killed. And they are Dinka. But because they are not opposing Salva Kiir, because they want to bring some tribal agenda, but because they believe in a better South Sudan. And they believe that Dinka, like any other tribe in South Sudan, they have a role in creating a nation where all South Sudanese belong. Because South Sudanese love each other. This is clear in our history. We are all in this together. We intermarry. We love each other. We are one people. But the way the country is being run is not allowing us to move forward. You have a clique, and this clique is what is using tribalism. And here, this is where the Dinka is used by Salva Kiir as his foot soldiers. These are people that are just used to go and block guns and bullets. If you are shot, you are shot. If you survive, then you survive, and you nobody take care of you. You are wounded, it's terrible. If you die, it's even worse. And the same thing on the other side, Riak is using the Nuer youth to fight for his position, so that he get his share of the cake. So you find that all these Nuer youth are in the White Army, all these people. And when they are killed, no one take care of them. People forget about them. And then the leaders are there, they appoint their wives, their sons, they give them whatever, and they move forward. This is what we have to change. So Revive South Sudan Party here, as I said before, this is not for me. I'm not here as a chairman of this party. I'm not here because I want to be president. I don't mind. In fact, I believe that I've been preparing myself so that if God give me the opportunity, I would be in a position to serve our people. I have the capacity. I went to school. I studied. I educated myself so that I can be in a position to contribute to my nation when the opportunity comes. So if the opportunity comes, obviously I will be able to serve my country. But it's not the reason why I'm doing this. This is not this is not what is fueling me to do this. What is fueling me is unshakable faith in the future of South Sudan, in the prosperity that is yet to come, in the promises of this nation. This nation has enormous potential. And I believe if we work together, we can realize it. Of course, only one person can be president at the time. But if we organize ourselves, you can have many presidents that will come from this generation. And this party can produce a lot of leaders, but we want people to come in and work from the very beginning. This, I know, because our history, what we have gone through, we don't trust each other. But as I said before, I'm not a chairman of this party. I'm not here to push my own agenda. All the people that helped to write the manifesto, none of them is here to say we are part of the leadership. We don't care about the leadership. We care about the job. And the job is to get this party to a convention so that the members of the party are the one that will be able to elect a leadership, and they will be able to rally behind this agenda. So what we want our members is just read the manifesto, make sure you agree to it. But we are going to be evaluating the manifesto. There will be a different committee that will be established that will now look at reviewing it, checking if there are things that are missing in it that can be added. All of that is going to happen because what we have is a living history. It's not a static history. We are going to be doing things based on what is needed at the time. What do people of South Sudan need so that they can move forward? So what we have here is something we can all build together. It's not something for Peter Biar. It's not something for anybody. It's for all of us. But we don't want people to come just because they're ambitious. Don't come here because of naked ambition. Come here because you believe in democracy, that you believe in that the majority is wise. People can sit here, work together, but we will go and vote our leaders in the party. And you also have to agree when the elections happen, we must be able to recognize the winners. People cannot run away because their narrow interest is not met. So over the next several months, we will get to know each other. We will be talking with one another, and we will be organizing about how to take this party forward and take our country forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Biar. The next person to ask a question is Paul Sudani.
Sudani, yes. Thank you so much. South Sudan Eagle Media.
I'm going to be really fast because you're not giving enough time, and there are a lot of people waiting. First of all, I'd like to thank you all, the audience, and everybody that is up here. Peter Biar, my brother. I don't think you might remember me. The last time we hung out was 2015 in Kansas City when you was actually heading to UK for your PhD. If you remember me, my name is Isaac Waller. Now, my friend, ladies and gentlemen, you, Peter, I congratulate you on your new political party. But my question to you is, you guys talk about change, the government change in South Sudan, especially changing the government is heading around direction. Let me give you an example. Do you know what I call change? A change is like what Wade is doing. Keeping your nose out of the government affair and work hard and make changes to the people of South Sudan, because not the government suffering, it's the people of South Sudan who are suffering. What have you done besides trying to create a political parties? The party that both of you are not getting along, including Emmanuel Ajawin, Paul Matar, the rest, all these young folks who are so intellectual. All you care is about trying to change the government. All of not seeing your faces to mob yourself in the government to go and do this like them. Why have you not learned from the first years of what them have done and what Yak has done? The change that has never occurred until today. That's a good question. Second, Peter Biar, you are well educated. Changing the leadership is not that easy. You're going to have a lot of lives being lost. Joseph Stalin has done it. Fidel Castro has done it. And obviously, when Dr. John Grant came to lead us, a lot of life has been lost because people were trying to change the course of the system or trying to do what they want. What have you learned from your first years in circulation? And don't you consider yourself one of the luckiest people because you came out alive? My third question is, all this change in our country all the time is always come from the children of Jonglei. Too many parties in Alanil, especially. Lamin's own party, Yak has his own party, his son Emmanuel Ajawin has his own party, you are here have your own party. Don't you guys believe that you are the only people that are educated in South Sudan to do this all the time? Don't you think that we are just tired of you guys and we know the game that you are doing?
Thank you, Sudani.
So yeah.
So those three questions that should be enough.
Okay,
So
that's enough. I was
Let him repeat the first one, the first question.
So the first question, what is your first question? The first question, Sudani.
Yes.
Repeat the first question.
My first question is, the change is like what Wade is doing. Why are you always willing to rush to the government and make changes and not trying to bring entities into entrepreneurship? Okay? Why are you failing in that?
Thank you.
To change the government is to bring jobs. Going and be the government is not a change. You're trying to do it. Why are you failing and you are capable of bringing the equipment, the businesses to be an entrepreneur or inventive? Create business, period. That's a change that people of South Sudan want and the rest of the world.
Okay, thank you, Sudani. So I will yield my microphone back to you to answer his three questions, before I go to the next.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Sudani. I appreciate your discussion. I think first, let me say I really appreciate my brother Luol Deng, the great job that he's doing with the South Sudan Basketball Federation. They have been flying our flag very high. We are proud of them, and we wish them success in the journey that they're on. We are all united behind them, and we believe that they have a huge potential. I think there must be a misunderstanding that somehow people are not doing what Luol Deng is doing. A lot of people are doing it. A lot of people have been doing it. Personally, myself, you see this wrestling that people are wrestling in Juba now. That did not come by itself. We started doing this in 2010 with a number of South Sudanese young people. We united our efforts, and we were able to mobilize people in Jonglei, people in Terakeka, people in Lake State, and people in Torit to come and do this sport. And we went to the extent of bringing people from Nuba Mountain to be part of it. That played a role. It helped to mediate some of the local activities is being done. Those things are being done. What ended up interrupting it later on was when elements within the National Security Service and within the government start fearing that we were mobilizing youth and that we were becoming too much popular. This is one of the things that you need to understand. There are a lot of people here now that would have never been in politics, but they have come to be in politics because when they try to do something, even on their own, then people somewhere will go and interfere. You see, when the government is not performing and is not functioning, it doesn't matter what you try to do in the country. That thing cannot succeed. Things will be sabotaged. One good example is what happened to my brother, Carbino Walagok. Carbino Walagok was busy running his businesses. The guy was an investor. He had created a company that employed thousands of youth. What happened? Somebody somewhere was uncomfortable with the success that Carbino was having, and it became about how to engineer his downfall, coming up with excuses and rumors and allegation to tarnish his name and ultimately to kill him. So this is why government must function. Also, we know that among all the different things that we are doing, where most impact can be had is in the government. All the oil and the resources of the country are managed by the government. Land that has now become a source of dispute in the country is managed by the government. So if we say, oh, we will go and do change in the private sector, and we know that all the fundamental issues of security, intertribal conflict, employment of youth, building roads, building airports, healthcare, education, all of this depend on the government, and they are not being done. Who do you think is going to do them? You know, it should be a challenge. How do we leave such a big issue unaddressed, and we want to go and deal with minor issues? How do we go and deal minor issues when the major issue has not been addressed? It's only when the government is functioning and is functioning well that citizens can go and do other things. Otherwise, when the government is not functioning well, what else can you go and do? So we have a responsibility. We have to fix the government so that the government function. So this is one thing that, first of all, you have to put in your mind, that it's not Luoldeng that has brought sports. People have been doing a sport. The South Sudan Basketball Federation was there before Luoldeng came and took it to another level. There were people that believe in it, but there were reasons that prevented this thing from moving forward. So people are interested in doing other things. And by the way, there are so many ways to contribute to the nation. I agree. It's not only the politics. But fixing the politics is the most important contribution that a patriotic son or daughter of South Sudan can do, because we have a country that has been run to the ground, and we cannot pretend that we can leave that and then we go and do other things when there is no conducive environment. I mentioned to you before how there is no electricity in the country. You only have the electricity is 40 cents per kilowatt when it is 5 cents in Ethiopia. That is okay. So let's go and do something else and forget fixing this problem. And how are you going to fix it if the government is not interested in fixing it, or is not run by people that are interested in fixing it? We have a country that now where oil now is a soul, and you know how they sell it now? They go and sell it to the lowest bidder. So the highest bidder that would normally buy it for 60 million per cargo. Instead of selling it to the highest bidder, they will go and sell it to some person for 20 million, and it was supposed to be bought by 60 million. And then now they will split the remaining 40 million on their own. So we are supposed to forget that one and be like Luoldeng and go and play basketball or go and play soccer. My brother, we have all died. Many of us, we were soldiers. We were soldiers, young soldiers, when we were fighting for this country. It has taken our youth, it has taken our childhood. We did not fight for it so that we can go and play basketball and leave other people to run it to the ground, to turn it into a corruption, turn it into a mafia. That was not the reason. So we are custodians of this country, And when we see this level of misbehaving, then we have a right to step in and to begin it. And this is a right that we have as people of South Sudan, and particularly as young people of South Sudan. We want to prosper. We see our age mate in Kenya, in Uganda, they are prospering. What makes them different than us is because our country is not being managed well. And if the elders keep on refusing, none of us, I told you before when I narrated my beginning, I was a technocrat. I was there providing policy advice so that they, politicians, could fix. But they didn't want to fix. They didn't want to fix the problem. So what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to just leave them and let them run the country down and not have them fix the problem? I have a right to go and say, yeah, people of South Sudan, let's come together. This is not about me wanting to be a leader. I said that before. I'm not a chairman of this party. I am not a chairman of this party. But this is a party where we can come and meet together and talk as people of South Sudan. You mentioned something about what I have learned from my detention. I've learned a lot from my detention. In fact, without my detention, I would not be making the move that I'm making now. But it's because I went through that experience that I am completely assured that nothing can stop us. Nothing can stop us in our way. Yes, my detention was brutal. But one of the things that happened also while I was inside was to see with my own eyes the level of solidarity that young people of South Sudan have for each other. When I was in prison, especially Blue House, there were times when, as I said many times, light would be turned off and then it would be turned on. One of the soldiers took pity on me. And one day, as they were preparing to turn on lights for days and weeks, he came and under the table, he pushed through under the table, under the door. He pushed a pocket-sized book Bible inside the jail cell. I had something. So when they have turned on the light, I went and looked and I found it. That changed my situation. In a state of situation where I was hopeless, now I had something to comfort me. I read the Word of Lord. That pocket-sized book Bible had New Testament in it, and the book of Psalms and the book of Proverbs. Every time when I felt weak, I would read it. Now, think to yourself, why did that person gave me that Bible? He's a national security officer. He's probably given orders to do terrible things to me. But here he is in that moment thinking, what can I do to help this brother? He knows the struggle that I'm fighting is not my own. He knows the situation that he's in. So he did that. And there are so many stories like that that I can tell you. Solidarity among young people of South Sudan. These people, they are conscious. They are not robots. No matter how much people think that they have brainwashed them, they are not robots. They feel and they know. And they were with us. When there were issues, they would warn us. And it's still the same thing now. Since we launched our message, there will be an outpour of support from a lot of our colleagues in the armed forces, in the security forces, in the SPLM, in all the other different parties that are standing with us in solidarity. So I have learned through that journey that people at the top are completely disconnected to what is happening at the bottom. And they think that there are people's sons that they will use as tools so that they can have power. Well, those people, they feel too. They have eyes. They have their colleagues that were shot during the fighting in 2013, 2014, during the crisis in 2016. And these people, they are wounded. Nobody's taking care of them. They are put aside, and they know. So do you think this is the future that they want for themselves and their families? Do you think this is the role that they think that God created them for? They don't. And they're with us in solidarity. And now with the election, this notion that somebody is going to rig the election. No one is going to rig this election. No one has the capacity to rig the election, because the people of South Sudan are not going to allow it to happen. So that one is there. On the issue of region being from Jonglei and Upper Nile, my brother, the nation belongs to all of us. Okay? There is nowhere where a line has been made that now that this party has been built by someone from Jonglei, the next party to be founded will be founded by someone from Warab. Or the next person after that will be someone from Torit, And then the person after that will be someone from Will. There is nowhere that such a thing is done. We are building a nation that will work for all of us. And anyone that put it in his heart or her heart to work for the nation has a right to form anything. It has nothing to do with people coming from anywhere or any kind of mindset. There's nothing like that. It's you in your heart that decide to work for the nation. And you have to have confidence. You have to believe that your nation can hear you and that you can talk to your people. So this has nothing to do with where anyone comes from or whatever. And as I said to you before, this party is not me who's forming it. It's not my party. I'm forming it with other people. And these are sons and daughters of South Sudan that come from Unity State, that come from Western Bahr Ghazal, that come from Northern Bahr Ghazal, from Werap, from Upper Nile State, from Jonglei, from Central Equatoria, from Eastern Equatoria, from Abyei, from Pibor administrative area, from Ruweng administrative area. All these people, they are coming. And they're joining hands because they realize that the problem we have in South Sudan is not a problem of Dingabur or a problem of Nuer or a problem of Equatorians or a problem of Werap. This is a problem of South Sudan. And it has to be addressed as a problem of South Sudan. It requires South Sudanese to come together and come up with solutions. So what we have done here is to create a forum. And we are willing to work with other parties. By the way, people who are forming this political party come from other parties. They come from SPLM-IO, they come from SPLM, the PCCA. There are people coming from all kinds of groups. And they are putting aside all those hats, and we come together because this is not a party for any particular individual. It's a vehicle that we are using for change. So that through this vehicle, we are able to find who are those leaders that South Sudan have that are able to work together. This is not about one person dictatorship or one person saying, oh, here is the gospel that God has given me, and you people of South Sudan are going to implement it. No. Manifesto benefited from all the ideas of South Sudanese people and has benefited from documents like the National Dialogue, the resolution of the National Dialogue, like the Vision 2040, like the Development Plan. All of these people, they have benefited from there. So all of us as South Sudanese citizens, we have freedom to grow however we see fit in our own country. And all those brothers that have formed parties, we can work together. And we have also opportunity to build this Revive South Sudan Party together. It doesn't matter where you come from, what your background is. As long as you're willing to inject your energy and resources into this, you're highly welcome. We are not looking to control anything. In this Revive South Sudan Party, there's going to be complete autonomy. You don't need things to be approved by what we are here to do a job. And all of us can do it however way that we see it fit. Everyone has something to contribute. Everyone has something to contribute. And within this Revive South Sudan Party, everyone will have a room to contribute. The idea really is to come together and we sit. Let's create a process and then put a constitution, put the rules, and then let the party members elect. Part of the problem in the SPLM was that there was never a democracy within the SPLM as a party. So we have to change this from the very beginning by building internal democracy within Revive South Sudan Party. And it's the reason why this party is going to prosper and why it is going to be different from all the other parties that you have in South Sudan.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Biar. So let me do this. Let me welcome Buna, Reverend John Meyer to the studio. So he have some of the questions for you, Dr. Biar. And for those of you in Clubhouse, Lion and Sudani, you guys already spoke. So I would like you guys to move yourself down to the audio. And Daniel and Werbeck, you guys are the neck on the line. But before I give you your turn to ask your question, let me give this chance to Reverend John Meyer to give his question to Dr. Biar. Reverend John Meyer, what further? John Meyer, can you try to remove your earphone?
You need to unmute himself.
Yeah, you have. Unmute yourself. What about
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is it okay now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. First of all, my brother Abram Badit introduced me. My name is John Mayer. I am very happy and very glad to join my brother, Dr. Biar. First of all, Dr. Biar don't know me. I knew Dr. Biar since he first made his own statement regarding things happened to him in Juba, and he went ahead and did statement and a lot of talk about himself, about agreement and disagreement that he has with the government of Sudan, and especially disagreement he has with President Kiir. And from that time, actually, I was very skeptical, actually, to the point that he went and insulted the President Kiir and insulted the government of President Kiir and all those things. So I back off a little bit. Yes, not because you don't have a point. When he went personally to cut the President Kiir, I said, okay, that's fine, because maybe that's the way he understands. Because what I know, we are all Southern citizens. We know when we went wrong in the beginning of the revolution, and till the time the CPA negotiated, and till the time the government is established in South Sudan, until we have independence. We all follow up that history. But we are all, maybe in way or another, we are part of it, of that history. And when things went wrong, sometimes we can pick the right or the leadership, and then we can have an attack person to that person. I myself, I don't relate to Kiir, but when we went personally attack him, that backed me up a little bit, because you don't have the point, you don't have the reason why you do that, because you don't know where you went through when things happened to you in the Blue House and everywhere in South Sudan. I don't know, and I don't experience exactly what you experience. Sometimes when the pain comes, it can turn you off, and you can say whatever you can say, whatever suits you. And that history does happen to you. I may not understand, but the point you went far off, that's what. And I waited for the last 3 years now, and today, few months back, now I can see that you made an apology to the president himself, personally, which is make me very happy. Not because of that you make President Kiir happy because you apologize to him, but sometimes things can be different, between personal and the thing. And that's, you attack President Kiir about his management and the wrong government and wrong things happen in the country. You know what? I don't have a problem with that. But when you go personally and attack him personally, that backed me off a little bit for the last couple of years now. Now, when you brought up that apology, and differentiate things, attack the Kiir as the government, because when you attack him as a government, he is going to be him with any group with him, any kind of number of people with him. They are in that same
boss. And when you attack him as a personal, it's going to be him alone. And that's what I want you to distance yourself from that. And that's what I have to say when I asked my brother Abraham to bring me in, is just to come and say thank you. Thank you for what you're doing, because now you can look in the different lenses about what about the king and what about the government. And then what about yourself, to present yourself to serve the people of South? Because you, as a young man growing up in the bush and becoming a person that you are now, that means that you need to contribute something to the people of South Sudan. And that's where we ask Kiir all the time at his government. Okay? Because please bring the new blood in the system. And I will give you the example. Last couple of weeks, they hired a new finance minister. And that new finance minister is your age, and even it might be younger to you. But he for what kind of challenges we have in South Sudan regarding finance. But is that the problem of all the ministers has been hired? No. It might be the system. It's the system. And the Minister of Finances is the problem. And if we cannot put it out, that's it. Then we don't have a good finance in South Sudan. And we don't have a good economic in South Sudan. And that's why my brother Biar, Peter, I'm so glad my brother to bring me to say thank you. I may be any help. You can see me, I am a pastor. And sometimes we will be accused that sometimes we can step on the toes of others. But sometimes if you guys get up as a politician and ask me to pray for you, I will say no. Because when you mess it up, you don't mess up so you can accept it with you. So in case, free. No. Mess it up, and if you can accept that you mess up, then we pray for you. That's the hijab nahnu bnijab through. وعشان كده my brother, my talk is going to be short. I just want to say thank you about your apology. I said, you know what, we need you as a candidate. And the other thing, I saw you the question that has been raised, that what's the name of the party? It was me, because I just came late. I was working and my office is very overwhelming here in the morning. So, but I need to do that part, and I need to go down South Sudan. I was there for the last 1.5 years. I live here for 24 years in Canada. I came here in 2000. So, but I used to come back and forth to South Sudan to see my own family, see my own thing, I can witness my thing, what is happening, and to be part of the system, but not to be a part of the system, because we need things to be done right. Okay? Because this country, we are children of SPLM since he was born. And that's what paid us all. Why things are going bad. And Elena Yang said it the other day. He was in the system for many years. And he said it. That's what affecting all the finance in the system. Okay, where he was there. He is dead. But now he realized the system is the problem. That's good. So we're going to learn along the way. And we're going to learn by the hard time. So, my brother, we need you, young people like you, rally them and go back to South Sudan. There is nothing going to happen. And we, all of us, we are going. All of us were going there. That's what I'm going to tell you in the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Reverend Buna John Mayer. Dr. Bia, do you want to respond very quick in 2 minutes?
Yes.
Or move?
No, I just want to thank my uncle and older brother, Abuna John Mayer. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your encouragement. It's true. What I did last time was beyond reasonable, and as I explained in my letter, sometimes we get frustrated when you have endured terrible things. We really went through a very bad situation in the Blue House. Situation we never thought that a government headed by Salva Kiir, especially as members of Red Army, because he was very special to us, and we love him very dearly. Even now, we still love him. But we never thought that through his government, those things can be done to fellow South Sudanese. But of course, it did not justify the bad thing that we said. And up to today, I still regret what I said. He is my elder. He's my uncle. He's my commander. He is someone who has done a lot for our country. And we celebrate him. We salute him. We are not against him at all. In fact, we are the one who will protect him. We are the one who will protect him because we want him to be our advisor and to see the promises of what he and John Garang and others, those of Kwanyin and their own comrades who have died, like William Nguyen, he has a room to live so that he can actually see it. So we are all in this together. He has nothing to fear from us. There are people that are telling him that he should fear us. He has nothing to fear from us. Nobody in South Sudan will take Salva Kiir to court on anything. No one will harm him. We will all protect him. We will not go through the humiliations that Bashir went through. Not at all. We will protect him. But we want the country to move forward. We want to realize what killed our people, millions of people. These are people with names. We know them. And their names are fresh in our mind. We should think about these people. What killed them was a promise of a new nation, promise of prosperity, promise of peace, promise of justice. Why are we leaving our country to the dogs? Why? And it's a country that has killed people. Why are we leaving it to the cartels? That they are the one that will go and come with a degree, they remove this and remove that? No, this is our country. And I agree with you. What Uncle Aleu said is very courageous. And by the way, Uncle Aleu is one of the most courageous men. I knew very well when he was fighting in Kapoita. The same battle my father was wounded. Lena Yen was also wounded. I know his courage. And he knows why they were fighting. This is not what they were fighting to realize. And they are still alive. Why are they going to leave us in the wilderness? We have been in the wilderness now for 40 years. We have been in wilderness longer than the children of Israel. We still have not yet arrived home. And they cannot leave us as our elders, as our commanders. They have a role to play in guiding us, in helping us, in joining hand with us, and ensuring that the promises of the liberation are realized by all people of South Sudan. So we have to build this country. It's the only country we have. And our dignity is at stake as people of South Sudan, because we cannot be known by things that are contrary to our cultural values. In our culture, someone who spread gossips is not respected. It's not respected. Someone who lies is not respected. Someone who steals other people's things is not respected. So let's go back to the norms of our people. Let's revive our values. So you have a big role to play, Uncle, in this movement, because we are going to reorganize ourselves. We're going to meet in our houses. Answers are not going to come from Peter Biar or from anyone. They're going to come from with us. If we look inside us, we know what the struggle we went through. Let that be the guide. Let be the one that guide us inside our hearts, and we will know what we need to do. Our president, Salva Kiir, is our son. We love him. But our country has to move forward. And he cannot force us to choose either him or the country. But he's an individual. He will go like all of us. So obviously the choice is always going to be the country. And he should respect the will of the people of South Sudan. And I want to assure you, Abuna, I want to assure you, give you full assurances. We are going back home. We are going to South Sudan. We are going to talk to our people. And we are going to change our country for the better. It has to be done. And it has to be done now, while even our liberators are still alive, so that some of them can see the promised land, so that they can be like that generation of Israelis that were able to guide the new generation in the promised land and lay down solid roots that are still there up to today. We are going to build those same roots inside South Sudan. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter Biar. Peter, let me give you 2-minute break, and then we have like 6 people in Clubhouse still who want to ask you a question, and then after those, and then I will close the show. So let me give you a 2-minute break.
Yeah, let me just grab a glass of water, and I'll be right back.
Okay.
Belena, Sudana, Belena, Belena, Belena taban min zaman ya Rabbuna. Jali chuk ayana Belena mamurta Sudan mujaja mafira dena. Jalna meidin bainana Rabbuna. Belena, Belena, Belena taban min zaman ya Rabbuna. Jali chuk ayana Belena mamurta Sudan mujaja mafira dena. Jalna meidin bainana Rabbuna. Belena, Belena, Belena taban min zaman ya Rabbuna. Jali chuk ayana Belena mamurta Sudan mujaja mafira lena. Yalna meidin bainana Rabbuna. Ya Chak Sudan ya kwana shit elkum belet fiu mushakil qalbi miten berta. Miten darda, qalbi miten darda. Ya Chak Sudan ya kwana shit elkum belet fiu mushakil qalbi miten darda, qalbi miten darda. Chak Sudan ya kwana shit elkum belet fiu mushakil qalbi miten darda, qalbi miten darda. Ana beke dajankum ya Sudan, shit elkum ya jama'a, shit elkum ya jama'a. Rabbuna bisai. Ana beke dajankum ya Sudan, shit elkum ya jama'a, shit elkum ya jama'a. Rabbuna bisai. Our blood bleeding in Sudan, Lord our God, come stop bloodshed, our land not comfort. Sudanese are finished because of war between us. Our children terminated among of other laws. blood bleeding in Sudan, Lord our God. Come stop bloodshed, our land not comfort. Sudanese are finished because of war between us. Our children terminated among of other law. You Sudanese, be careful, we all have problem. When will I be happy? And then be happy. When will I be happy? You Sudanese, be careful, we all have problem. When will I be happy? And then be happy. When will I be happy? I'm crying about you. Sudanese, be careful, my people. Go take care, my parents. God bless you. I'm crying about you. Sudanese, be careful, my people. Go take care, my parents. God bless you. Arzidamna jinubda yauta shaifinu alela jinubda fiyadana yalla 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 ya kwana di Sudan jadid sejawlena salam. Arzidamna jinubda yauta shaifinu alela jinubda fiyadana yalla 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 ya kwana di Sudan jadid sejawlena salam. سيبوا مشاكل بينتكم هاي من زمان في جنوبنا في ناس كتير بموت سنبلة عليه لما في أي ظل بموت سنبلة في السودان سلام يجمل قلوبنا ما دايرين تفرقة دمنا واحد وربنا واحد ما في قبلية بينتنا. سيبوا مشاكل بينتكم هاي من زمان في جنوبنا في الناس كتير بموت سنبلة عليه لما في أي زول بموت سنبلة في السودان سلام يشمل قلوبنا ما دايرين تفرقة دمنا واحد وربنا واحد ما في قبلية بيناتنا.
Welcome back, everybody. Let's go back to Clubhouse. We have, for those of you Clubhouse, please, I would like you guys to jot it, your question, one question to two. Daniel, you are next. If you can hear my voice, you can open your mic right now to ask your question.
All right. Can you hear me? Thank you, Brother Madid.
You're welcome.
Yes, sir. And congratulations to Dr. Peter Biar and all his party members. Dr. Peter Biar, you spoke about the youth and you spoke about them, you know, and how important they are to South Sudan. And I agree with you. They are, you know, determining factor when we talk about the election. My question to you is, when talking to the entire population of South Sudan, what's your party mission statement to all of us? Youth, elderly, women, you know, the entire population of South Sudan. First question. Second question, you talked about your plans to to return back home, hold participate in the election, and many other plans that you have. But the question is, all of this require resources. Where are you going to get the resources from? Because you don't establish a party and suddenly everything will be in place without resources. So who will pay for all of this? And final question is the time constraint. Between now and 2024, when the election is supposedly will be held, do you think you have enough time to accomplish all of this within this time frame? Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. Peter, do you want to answer him, or do you want me to?
Yes, I think I will answer him, and then we can come back, and
Okay.
I will try to be short too.
Yeah, that would be makes sense. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, first of all, the vision of the Revive South Sudan is to create a democratic, prosperous nation. Very simple. We want to create a country that is democratic. We want to create a country that is prosperous, a country that is united, a country that is at peace. That is it. This is the vision. Our mission is to mobilize our people, all our people, youth, women, veterans, soldiers, everyone, to revive our values of unity, our spirit of patriotism, so that we use it to bring about a democratic, peaceful, united, prosperous South Sudan. If you read our manifesto, those words are over and over and over again. Now, I know when you read a constitution, it makes it very clear what the vision is, what a mission is. We have not yet released our constitution because we wanted to benefit from the members of the Revive South Sudan Party. So we are working on that, but that will become very clear. So that is our mission, and that is our vision, is to mobilize our people, organize them. We are organizing into party structures, and we are going to organize as a political party to be able to bring about the ultimate vision, which is to create a prosperous, democratic, peaceful country in the Republic of South Sudan. So that is what our members are doing. Right now, our main focus is mobilization, recruitment. But we are also designing programs. And as more and more members join us, we will be designing programs where we will be enlightening our members. Because there has to be a political education program. We will be educating our people on our vision, on our values, and our norms, on duties and responsibilities of members. So that one is something that we are going to be doing. In terms of resources, that is a very critical point. Our resources are going to come from our members. Our members have resources. People of South Sudan have resources. That's why SPLM was able to succeed, SPLA, SPLM. They were able to donate chickens, goats, cows, sorghum, whatever that they could give, they gave. And SPLM used it to fight and to liberate the country. So it's the same. We have now, in a modern era, people are working. They will be able to donate to us some money, both our members within the country as well as our members in the diaspora. They will generate resources, and that resources is what we will use. Already now, there has been outpour of support. You have members that are already offering to buy T-shirts, to print T-shirts and in large quantities, and to give it out to people, or to use those T-shirts to raise more funds for the party. So our members are going to contribute. Our website is being constructed. Within the next coming days, the website will be ready. And our members will have a chance to give money direct to us on the website. And that money will be used to build the party and to begin the activities of the party. There are activities that we are also going to do. You don't need only money. The most important thing we need now is time. We want people to volunteer their time. Either those who will be drafting documents for us and preparing our policies. We also need lawyers that will be defending our members, because we know this struggle is going to be a serious struggle, and we will need lawyers that are willing to volunteer their times and to contribute to that. We need people that can draft and to negotiate with some of our friends and investors that will come and help us with our vision. So we want to really get the ball rolling and get all our members with different skills to participate. The time is a lot. December next year is a lot. A lot can change between now and December next year. Let me tell you. And we have every opportunity to organize and position ourselves for absolute victory. And I'm very confident, and not just only me, all our members that I've spoken to, they're very confident because we are the complete opposite of what the SPLM is. The way we do things and the way we will be doing things will be entirely opposite to the way they are being done in the SPLM. Here, there will be internal democracy. No one is going to declare themselves as the one that is nominated. People have a right to run in the primaries here. I'm not the one going to select the delegates. The delegate will be elected by the members. So we are all here going to organize the party, build the party structures, bring the members in, and then go to the convention and decide among us who is the best. Because when you go hunting, especially when you hunt a very dangerous animal like an elephant or like buffalo, when you go to hunt buffalo, you send someone who can run very fast to be the first one to spear the buffalo. And then after they have thrown the spear, now they run because the buffalo will be coming after them. And then now the others who were part of the hunting party will be hidden somewhere waiting for the buffalo to come and fall in the ambush, and then they will kill it. So it's the same way we will use the same approach that we will use in this process. We will see among us who is best placed to be able to go and spear the buffalo, and then the rest of us will organize to make sure that we finish it. So this process is going to happen. I have every confidence that our members in the diaspora, our members in Juba, they will be able to generate resources, and we will have abundance of resources that we will need to accomplish the objectives that we set out to accomplish.
Thank you very much, Dr. Biar. The next is our back. Our back. Are you there?
Give me like 10 minutes because I'm driving now. I will must my light when I.
Okay, let me move. Okay, let me move to Mary. Mary, can you hear me?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much. Brother Biar, I'll say hi to you. My name is Anok. I will ask you 3 specific questions. My first question to you is that now you have your own party, and your father is a part of the SPLA, government of South Sudan supporter. He was the one of those orders that support SPLA so much. He's a part of the government of South Sudan. My question to you is that is, you have a lot of your family in the government of South Sudan. Do they support you with your party, with your new party, or they not? And the second question is that when you was in jail, you say something that very, very important, and it shocked a lot of South Sudanese people. You say that when you're in jail, like in Blue House, a lot of things happen. You got abused in a different kind of way. And you come to be a president today, or your new party, will change that what happened to you in jail, you will change it. And what is really your mission? What's the name of your party? And what are you trying to do for us to use to follow you? Because you could not tell us that you have a party and we don't know the name of it, what is the supporting of it. Even when it came to the budget, like you say a minute ago, when it came to budget, you have family, including your father in the government of South Sudan. Did he support you with that? Or he going to support you with the budget? Question mark. Thanks.
Thank you, Mary. Dr. Peter Biar, go ahead and answer.
Okay, well, thank you so much, my sister Mary. I really appreciate your voice. We really need to encourage all our sisters to participate in the political discourses in our country because, women have so much to contribute to the nation. So thank you for your question. It is true, my father is in the government, but my father is not a politician. My father is a general in the South Sudan People Defense Forces. This was formerly known as the SPLA. the Sudan People Liberation Army. But it transitioned out of that because we are no longer in the liberation phase and we don't need an army to liberate us. So they became the South Sudan People Defense Forces. And the South Sudan People Defense Forces are prohibited by the Constitution from engaging in politics. So he's not in politics. He's not a member of the SPLM because all the members of the armed forces are not supposed to be members of parties. They're not supposed to be partisan. So he is not a partisan. I think when the election come, I think he and other people in the SPLA, in the national security, in the police, they will now be looking at candidates from different parties with a vision that agree with their own. And I think we as Revive South Sudan Party, we have an opportunity to be able to speak with them and engage with them and share our vision with them, because I think our vision will align very much with their own, because the convictions and the values that they hold are the foundation upon which the Revive South Sudan Party is being built. Our party is called Revive South Sudan Party. We have our manifesto. In fact, I can put in my number. You can feel free to contact me on WhatsApp. I will be able to share with you directly the manifesto of our party that have the entire program of what we want to do for the country. What we want to do is to revive our values, to revive our nationalism, our patriotism, our unity, and use it to forge a better country, a country of peace, a country of prosperity. We want to transform the way our country performs. We want to make good governance the bedrock of everything that we do. We want to focus on an economy that works for everybody, to invest in massive housing, in infrastructure, in energy, to create millions and millions of jobs for young people. We want to reform our security institutions, make the South Sudan People Defense Forces an example of excellence in professional security services. We want to make national security to be a beacon of progress and enlightenment when it comes to intelligence services, so that other countries in the world come and learn about how we are able to build such great institutions that respect the rights and aspirations of their own people. So the vision that we have is to really build the South Sudan that we all went to war to create, that shining city on the hill, city that can inspire all our neighbors and the entire continent to embark on a new journey of progress, so that we bring the Black Africa, the Black people of the world, into a new era where the rest of the mankind will respect us and appreciate our role in the history of humankind. So the vision we have is very bold. Whether my father will, in the end, when the election comes, whether he will vote for me or President Kiir, that is yet to be determined. And being in the government does not mean that they support the president. There are a lot of people in the security forces that are fed up with the way the country is being run. There are so many people in the SPLM that are fed up with the way the president has been running the country. That is why the National Dialogue was able to say that people of South Sudan are tired of President Kiir and Dr. Riek Machar, and that these two individuals should retire and go home. This came from the people of South Sudan, and those who talk included the military, they included the national security, they included the chiefs. So all those people have their own views, but we have never had a chance to actually test those views because they have never been in elections. So when the elections happen, all those people will vote, and we will see where the people of South Sudan stand. But obviously, he's my father, and as my father, I'm sure he wished me well. He support me as a father, support his sons. And when I go home, we will be together. He will be very happy that I'm back, and so will be his colleagues that are with him. So will be members of my clan, members of my community. They miss me. They miss my contribution within the community. I have every right to be in South Sudan and to prosper in South Sudan. So there is no problem. And I said before, when we started this journey, a lot of people were part of the journey to liberate South Sudan. We are still on this journey. Some people have got tired, but we brought the struggle to its end. That is how we brought it to the achievement of independence. But now the journey continues in a different way, and it's a journey of revival. So all these people, we are inviting them. We are inviting them to join us in the country. And by the way, ultimately, political opinions are for individuals. Therefore, they're not for a family. They're not for a clan. If my father, in the end, thinks Salva Kiir offer a better deal than me, he has every right to vote for Salva Kiir. The same thing, if Adut Salva Kiir believes that I offer something better than her own father, she has every right to vote for me. So we are going to compete based on ideas, but not who is blood related to whom, because we are all one people. I have been mentioning it many times. When I married my wife, Salva Kiir was one of the uncles, and I paid him cows. So we are all one people. We are all one family. So we are all related. And the reason we are forming these political parties is not because we are against anybody. We are not against the president. I'm not against anybody in the SPLM. I am all for South Sudan. I want the South Sudan to move forward. And I'm going to be among the people that will protect the legacy of the SPLM. This is our shared legacy. We have every right to protect it. And that includes the legacy of President Kiir. So we are all in this together, but our journey now needs new, fresh blood, fresh vision, fresh energy. And the Revive South Sudan Party is offering that. Thank you.
Uh, thank you, Dr. Pierre. The next online is Attack. Attack, are you there? Oh, our back. Are you back? Okay, hang on, Attack. Our back. Okay, come on. Put in your question. Our back.
I will remove myself down.
Okay, thank you.
My voice is got dushed. I feel like Brother Peter Biar dushed my.
Thank you, Madit. Thank you all. Thank you, Dr. Peter Biar Ajak, for coming and for presentation you have done to Lake Media. And also the first time to meet you since coming out from the jail 3 years ago. I heard from the beginning. I was there. We are the people first to witness you in the Lake right in the media. And you brought up the history of the SPLM in 90 and 91, and then going to where you go to jail, and PPs, and did bring the PCC and other political entity that was involved on this issue. My question, it was like this. Since you brought up, you believe in the 1991 that the New Sudan is not working, and also the independence of South Sudan is something is your champions, and that what you believe because they don't have support from this. New Sudan doesn't support from South Sudanese since you believe in that idea. I don't know how come you claim yourself, you have your idea, so you believe in the SPLM. At the same time, you believe in 91, and 91 it was really disaster. It was a political power struggle. It was a disaster, bring the tribe to fight against each other. At the same time, the leader on that moment was enjoying Khartoum government, which they are not believe independent of South Sudan. Why shouldn't they join that party? Because Lama Col is there and Victoria is there. And second thing, I want to know, since I want two questions. There is Revive and Change. Two of them are different or one? If that one, I want to block you something called Revive. Because of what? Because you cannot revive. Revive belong to the SPLA. The SPLA is the one have that history. The SPLA is the one fought for the 91 and killed tribalisms. The Revive is your dad, is your uncle who died in the field. That's what the SPLM believe. Not you can revive that. You cannot revive since you're getting out. You cannot revive the Red Army because you are not belong to the Red Army anymore. You belong to the revival. So I want to block you right there. And thank you, my dear. But I'm worried about you, where you going. Thanks.
Thank you, Wetback. Do you go ahead, Dr. Biar?
Well, first of all, let me clarify. I don't agree with what happened in 1991. I think that must be a misunderstanding. I was explaining the history of South Sudan. And we have to be able to tell the history as it happened, not the way we have it in our head. The history we have is written, and we were also there as witnesses. There was no self-determination as an objective in the SPLA until 1994. And it came because of the 1991 event. What was there in 83 was the new Sudan, united socialist state. That was what the movement was fighting for. But there were issues within the movement about what were the objectives of the struggle. I think, yes, I don't disagree with you that there was a power struggle. And maybe Dr. Riak thought that he could do a better job than Dr. Garang, together with those of Dr. Lam. It's possible. But I think it would be a mistake to reduce that whole thing to a power struggle alone. Power struggle was there, but there were also disagreements. It was not just I want your seat and I must have it. There was also different ways in which people see things. There was, of course, the issue of vision. What are we fighting for? Are we fighting for independent South Sudan, or are we fighting to unite Sudan? That was one of the things that was discussed. And it forced John Garang and those who remain in the mainstream SPLM to adopt that. So even if the right to self-determination was such a terrible thing, why did the SPLM adopt it? And in the end, it became the thing that actually succeeded. New Sudan failed. This is a reality. We all wanted New Sudan. We wanted a Sudan to be a melting pot, because I believe in unity. If you see what is happening in Europe, they're uniting into European Union. Everybody is joining. So we should be uniting also in Africa. So I don't agree with us dividing ourselves into small states. But for unity to be possible, all the different segments of the society must want it. The North did not want it. They wanted to be special. They want to be the first-class citizen, and then you and I are second-class citizens. And that is something that we could not accept. So that is why, in the end, the self-determination became the ultimate end of the SPLM. Because in the referendum, when you were in that booth, you decide: are you going to vote to be in South Sudan and wait for New Sudan to come, or are you going to vote now to create an independent South Sudan? So we have to be fair to one another. Yes, 1991 was unfortunate. It set us back. It nearly destroyed the movement. But it brought a very important objective to be adopted by the movement, and that is the right to self-determination. And even when Riek came in 2002, he had nothing to argue, because the objective he was fighting for was accepted. The only thing that never changed was the lack of internal democracy, because Riek and Lam were fighting for two things. They wanted the right to self-determination. They wanted a democracy in the SPLM. That democracy never came. So they end up settling for positions. And this is what you have been seeing repeating itself with 2013, 2015, 2016, and with the current peace agreement that is being implemented. Is people settling for position rather than the objectives of trying to transform and democratize the SPLM. That one is what I was saying. I'm not saying that what happened in 1991 was great, but I was just explaining the history of the right of self-determination, because within the SPLM, that is where it came. And we have to be able to give the credit where it is due. I'm a scholar. Before I'm a politician, I'm a scholar. And as a scholar, I need to be able to tell where things come. What are the origin of things? So that one is that. Obviously, I don't agree with Dr. Riak on many things. I don't agree on the use of violence. So creating a civil war and SPLM-IO and fighting people of South Sudan, massacring women, innocent children, I don't agree with that. We may agree on the objective of the need of independent South Sudan and the need for it to be a democracy, but the tools that are being used, I don't believe that violent tools can create a non-violent politics. Where has that happened? We have seen the same problem. Even in Uganda now, NRM or Museveni that came to power through violence, is now not willing to go unless by violence. So it's the same thing you see with the SPLM. So we have to be able to create a new entity that is entirely nonviolent, that can unite the people of South Sudan and restore the country. Why do you say that the legacy of Revive is for SPLM and for those of my father? Why? Are they the SPLM? In your own head, what is SPLM? Is SPLM the SPLM Secretariat in Juba, the one near the ministries? That is the SPLM? Is it Salva Kiir or members of High Command? What is SPLM? SPLM was something the people of South Sudan create. All of us, we share that legacy of SPLM, not the individuals that are in the National Liberation Council or the convention. All those people in the National Liberation Council, when were they elected? The last National Liberation Council that was elected was 2008. 2008. That is 15 years ago. Kids that were born by that time, they can even produce children now. That is when they were elected in the National Liberation Council. The same thing with the Political Bureau. Even those now who were added to the Political Bureau, who added them? Do they have legitimacy? If I said now, because we have formed a political party and I just appoint people, are those people legitimate? Nobody elected them. So who is SPLM? SPLM, SPLA was all of us, was the people of South Sudan. It was not those letters or those who were put in charge to run those institutions with those acronyms. Those are not the people of South Sudan, because it's the people of South Sudan that liberated this country. And what I'm reviving is the spirit. Who is the spirit with who? The spirit of South Sudan. The spirit of South Sudan is with all of us. It was inside our heart. That is how we managed to succeed in the liberation struggle. So I don't need to be in the SPLM or be Red Army Foundation or Red Army League to revive that spirit. I just need to be a South Sudan that knows that spirit, that has seen it before. And I have been part of the struggle. I was there in the Red Army. I was there, in the thick of it. I have scars that shows that. So that is what we are reviving. We are reviving that spirit of patriotism, of unity and purpose. So that spirit is for all of us. No one owns it. And we are reviving it so that we use it to begin the next chapter. And that is the chapter of progress and prosperity. We want to take this country to be a middle income economy within 3 to 5 years. We have wasted 18 years since the CPA ended. We wasted that time. So we cannot waste more time. We have to be able to move forward. So I understand your understanding, what you are saying, but SPLM is not those individuals. It was a spirit we all own. It flowed through our veins, all of us. It flowed through our blood. We knew it. And that is the spirit we want now. Thank you.
Thank you. Ziola, go ahead.
All right, thank you. Thank you, moderators. I appreciate the space, the room. Thank you to the guests as well, to the speaker, Peter. I would like to ask some questions. Peter, what was the reason you apologized almost 1 year actually, to President Kiir for the unfortunate and I guess false comments you made about the president on KNTV, the Kenyan television? You apologized 3 months ago, and it took so long, almost 1 year. I think there's about 8 days left to be 1 year. So why did it take you that long? And was the apology sincere, or was it politically motivated? That's the first question. The other question I would like to ask is before I ask it actually, you are a member of the WEF Young Global Leaders, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so before I actually ask my question, I'm just gonna play something. This comes from
the founder, Carl Schwab, founder of WEF, is also the chairman of the WEF as well. And I'd like to just play his an interview they did very short and before, and then I'll ask a question after that. If that's okay.
When I mention our names like Mrs. Merkel, even Vladimir Putin and so on, they all have been young global leaders of the world economic forum. But what we are very proud of now is the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of Argentina, and so on. So we penetrate the cabinet. So yesterday I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of this cabinet, or even more half of this cabinet, are from our actually young global leaders of the world economic forum.
So the founder of WEF and the chairman is bragging that half of the cabinet of Canada is young global leaders. And for those of you guys who don't know what the WEF is, basically, it's an elite cartel. So I guess the irony is very interesting. But if you're elected as president of South Sudan, will the WEF penetrate the cabinet and the government of South Sudan under your leadership? I ask that because I think these are important questions to understand your judgment and your character as well. I don't ask it in mean spirits or anything like that, but I'm just I'm very suspicious of the WEF and some of the things that they have said, like the global reset or the Great Reset during COVID-19. They came up with some of these terms, which you've used actually, some of the terms there, like we are all in this together, solidarity. These are actually terms that came out of WEF during COVID-19. So I'm wondering, so that's exactly what I'm wondering. So my question regarding why it took almost 1 year, and then the other question is around the WEF, your involvement in WEF. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Attack. So, Dr. Biar, go ahead.
Okay, I will take this, and then maybe we will take maybe one or two more to wrap up.
We have only 3 people left. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I believe my apology was sincere, because you asked whether the apology was sincere. The apology was sincere. If you read the words there, I meant every one of them, and there is no word that I did not use that I did not mean. I used everything as I felt it. Obviously, when I was released from prison, and then the incident that happened to me in Nairobi, I was very bitter. And that bitterness came through in the word that I used to commit that mistake. And it took a year. A lot of people, my family, people around the president, they all reach out to me looking for an apology, but I refuse. First of all, apology is not something that is demanded. You feel it yourself, and then when you are ready, you give it, and you give it in your own words. So I was not ready at that time because I felt that the president is the president. He's the father of the nation. He's the bigger man. He should be the one that tried to understand what are my frustration and my issues. But obviously, because he hasn't done that, it doesn't mean that I don't know also what is right. And I have a right also to initiate mediation and to do things that can end a conflict. So I reflected, and it was also part of my own recovery. And through this process, I found healing. I realized that, whatever happened should not hold me back. Whatever happened in the past should not hold me back. What I was doing when I was jailed, I was doing it for South Sudan. I should not stop to do it for South Sudan. And to move forward, I must heal. And to heal, I must forgive. And that includes also acknowledging where I was wrong. So I did that. I wrote to the president. What people don't know is, aside from the public apology that I gave, that I issued, I also wrote a private apology letter that was delivered to people around the president, including his relatives. So he knows that I have apologized publicly, and I also apologize privately. And the reason why I did the public apology was because when I made the mistake, it was in the media. So I had to also apologize in the media for the public to know that Peter now regrets what he said last time. So that was that. So I believe that that apology was sincere, and from the reaction that I got, a lot of people appreciate it. People were happy that I was able to do that. So that is on that. On the issue of the World Economic Forum, first of all, World Economic Forum is a nonprofit organization. It plays a role as a convener. It convenes business leaders as well as governments to come in one place to think about the future, because you need private sector and you need the government to think about bigger issues like climate change and other things that are affecting the world. So that is what it does. And then they created this program called the Young Global Leaders. And what happened with the Young Global Leaders, they try to identify young and emerging leaders across the world. And then these people are honored as young global leaders. And you meet every year. The most important meeting that they do is in Davos, in Switzerland, normally in January. And this is where all the world leaders will come and meet. All the most important business leaders in the world will come and meet. And a lot of deals are decided there that transform countries, that transform histories of countries. So that is what this network has to offer. The Young Global Leaders Network has so many people, most of the people that you can think about, including, we are doing this now, Facebook Live. Mark Zuckerberg is my colleague in the Young Global Leaders Network. So this is a group that has so many people, all the business leaders, most of the leaders in the world, not just in Canada and France, but everywhere. And even in Africa, even people like Abiy Ahmed, and by association, there are others that are involved in the World Economic Forum, like Ruto and many others. So the idea here is people that are united in a common vision. And that is a world that is prosperous, a world that has freedom, a world that there is solidarity, where people are working together to solve common problem like poverty, problem like disease, problem like climate change. So we as South Sudanese, we are part of humanity. We cannot keep ourselves away from it. So when I was honored and recognized and invited into the network, I was very delighted, because it's a very rare opportunity. And I believe there are a few of us from South Sudan that have now are associated with the network, including Emmanuel Jal, Alec Weck, and many others. So it's a network, it's a powerful network, it has a lot of very powerful people, businesses, and we are going to leverage that network. Not that it will take over South Sudan. Nobody can ever take over South Sudan. And this party we are building here, Revive South Sudan Party, we are building it together as people of South Sudan. We are the ones that are going to set the agenda. But once we agree about what we want to do, investment program that we have for our nation, then we will look for investors. And World Economic Forum is going to be one of those places that will make it easier for us, because already all the billionaires are members there. And I have the credibility as a member of the forum. I've been a member now for a number of years. And when I go there with my team and my plan, you can be very sure that every single billionaire in the world is going to meet with us. Now you have our president come here. I remember last year during the Africa-US summit, when Mahigayi, the former foreign minister, was delegated. Nobody wanted to talk to him. You need investors. You need technologies. Not all of these can be invented in South Sudan. We are way behind. To catch up, we need technologies and resources from the rest of the world. And being part of that network is going to make it possible to attract investors that many people in South Sudanese government can only dream of. But we know these people, we can invite them, and we know that they will honor our invitation. They will come and they will invest. And we are going to do the things that we say we will do. When we say we are going to build 50,000 houses in every single of the 10 state capitals, we are going to do it. And we are going to bring those companies that will do it. What is wrong if we use our network to transform South Sudan, to build prosperity? Ideological issues, we want to argue ideological nonsense when our people are dying of diseases. Yang Kolomatiang, you forget about her, one of the most famous musicians in South Sudan. How did she die? They did not have the inhaler for asthma. It was not at the Juba Teaching Hospital. And we want to debate theories about whatever. What we want to do is to practically transform our country, make South Sudanese rich. You, as a young person in South Sudan, instead of you becoming poor every year and you become dependent on uncles, we are going to make you millionaires. Millionaires. Yes, every single person that has a bachelor degree and that has the ethics of hard work and honesty can become a millionaire within 2 to 3 years of our administration, because we are going to unlock the vast potential of South Sudan. And we are going to bring investors from a different part of the world. The country will be so busy that no one will have a room to even think about, going to talk gossips about somebody, or, all this nonsense that people are doing now in Juba. That will be put to an end. And thank God we have those networks. Macron, yes, he's a member in the Young Global Leaders Forum. So already we have a, by the way, internal network within the within the World Economic Forum, in which members that are already vetted can talk privately and agree on what needs to be done. And that is necessary for the world. We need similar things within our own country of South Sudan. And we are going to build that kind of network so that people know each other and together generate ideas about progress and the advancement of mankind. So I am honored to be part of it. And I will not be the only South Sudanese that will be part of it. Others will be invited. Every year I have a chance to nominate people, and I will be nominating. But there has to be people already with credibility, because there is a lot of vetting that goes into this. There are firms that vet you and look at your background to make sure that you are a credible person, someone that people can work with, someone that has trust, someone that has capacity to implement tasks. So we will be recommending more and more younger South Sudanese to be part of this network, because they have a lot to learn from the network and a lot to contribute to the network. As I keep saying, South Sudanese are brilliant people. They are amazing people. They have a lot to contribute to the world, and they have a lot to contribute to Africa. And the time for us to do that is now coming.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Peter Biar. Let me move to the next. What is next? The next, Cameron Manon. Yeah.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, and also thank for the people media, the South Sudan media, and also Victoria for this time here. First of all, I just want to congratulate you for thinking in the right way, because it has been involved activism. We're glad that last year you come out and apologize in your own choice because of the interview that we did in the TV. My question is, when we see in South Sudan have many political parties in the country, but none of them actually showing the clear vision that actually make a difference in the country. Where we are living in West here, we have already seen, like in the US, if they have political parties, they need 3 political parties, which is 3 parties that never make it to the presidency. The same thing applies to different countries as well. But in Africa, we want to believe that creating the more political parties that are not functioning even, and have no grassroots on the ground will make a difference in politics. Nevertheless, if you have it happen at all, Africa is still facing the same challenges, how they can put their house in order. And we have seen recently what is going on in different African countries like Mali, Niger. Many coups are taken over due to the Western political, which is actually you are talking now about WF coming economic, boosting economic for South Sudan and so on. But most of the Western investment in Africa actually go there for their interest. They are not there to see the livelihood of our communities. Do you think that South clear political parties who are really have a clear functionality and vision. So the people will have at least less choice. A few choices that they can choose from. But now, even in the upcoming election, how many ballot boxes people will need to check in ballot boxes? It's money. I heard that we have over 40 political parties already exist in South Sudan now. Plus, your political parties coming in to be a part of that. Nevertheless, I don't know whether the party is going to be ready for the upcoming election, which is a part of the problem, because most of the people, they just want to club to the power. That's what they're looking for. They want to get a power immediately. No political party has to have a long vision of investment, political investment. That may take a few years before even you're thinking about running for presidency or even thinking about taking the power through the election, because you have to do your homework before even you're thinking about running for presidency and running for other positions in the country. And it's one of the problems. So what's going to make your political party different from others that already South Sudanese are witnessing and seeing the weaknesses currently in the country? And thank you.
Thank you, Comrade Manowan. Go ahead, Dr. Biar.
Well, thank you, Comrade Mano. I really appreciate that. Just not to dwell too much on this point, what will make our party very different is that we are creating a space for all the people of South Sudan that have ambition and vision for their country to come together and work together. It's not about what I have built personally on the ground, but what others that I will be working with have built. These people have been in the SPLM-IO, some of them have been in SPLM-IGs. These are the people who have done the work. And when those people join us and we work together in the Revive South Sudan Party and we go to the convention, people will see that it's not that hard to prepare for elections. Not every country and every situation is the same. The situation of South Sudan is going to demand for us to react differently based on the dynamics that we have on the ground. So I want to assure you, this party will be ready for elections. The outpouring of support already from the ground is just overwhelming. If we really begin now registering, in each of these states, we'll be registering 5,000, 10,000 people easily that will be joining this party. And that is enough, because basically now as we speak, we have somebody from every single county. Every single county in South Sudan is already in this. Every single county. And that means now we are able to recruit on the ground. And that is before we put anything. We have not even injected any real resources into this. That is just from announcing. And you see the level of excitement. Now, when other members will be coming and they will also be talking and they will be sharing the platform, this is going to grow like wildfire. So I have every confidence that we have a lot of time. We will be able to organize. The difference with us and other political parties, the other political parties are not really willing to remove SPLM from power. They're not willing to really form the next government. And for us, that is an overarching and urgent objective. We have to form the next government. And we are going to form it by winning the trust of the South Sudanese people with our agenda and our vision, vision of progress, vision of unity, vision of hope. So South Sudanese are going to see it and compare it to the alternative, and they will realize that this is the best deal. And also, the vision of competence. You will see in the next several weeks, the people that will be joining this party, that will be sharing the platform with me, are extremely competent South Sudanese people that people of South Sudan can trust. And they will show that they are capable of providing a new vision and new leadership. And when we come out of our convention, you will see our ticket. You will have our flag bearer and the running mate for all the different governors in the different states and the administrative areas, members of parliament. And you will see that this is a new team that is determined to take South Sudan forward. But not just determined, you would realize that they have the capacity, they have the know-how, they have the network. Sometimes it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. You can talk with someone like Elon Musk and get him to invest like $5 billion. You don't need to talk to 50 people, just one or well-placed individuals, and you convince them, and they put the money on the table, and then you achieve miraculous things. This is the opportunity that Revive South Sudan Party has, because you bring all these individuals. Each of them has been building their own network and their own expertise. We are now bringing it all together so that we have a new beginning for our country. So that is going to be an energy that nothing can stop. It's going to be able to propel the youth and the women of South Sudan to a new future.
Thank you, Dr. Bayar. Okay, so we have two more, so I can let you go. And for those of you who send me a lot of messages, please, my apology, because Dr. Peter Biar has been here over 4 hours, so he have another commitment to do. So let me move on. Welmore Anyar and Wilson Mutut, the last one. So well, go ahead.
Yes, thank you so much, Comrade. Greet you, Comrade Peter Biar Ajak. I hope my voice is clear. Give me a thumbs up, Zayana.
Yeah, it's clear. You can, yeah, raise your voice a little bit.
Okay, thank you so much. First of all, Dr. Biar, congratulations, not for forming a party, but for being truthful. In your remarks, you told the truth. The truth that while we were there in the bushes, we were regarded as a future energy that shall then come to build a nation which would be ruined through the liberation and the destruction that comes about. I was there when we were promised that we are the future leaders. Salva Kiir told us when we met him in Yorul. Uncle Kalman Ngoro also told us when we crossed River Nile, we met Paul Manyang. He told us the same. By the Patemora, your father-in-law, we met him there. And their commander also told us the same thing. By the Jebel Puma, we met Paul Mudut. He told us, he described his generation as a setting sun, and that we were a rising sun, and that one day the nation will be liberated and we will shine above the nation. And Dr. John told us the same thing. Time has come now, and it looks like the cloud is not moving away for us to shine. And so when you come in here to say what you say, I remember those voices they were telling us. So congratulations for being truthful in your narratives. I have only two questions, Dr. Piar. I know you have been bombarded with a lot of questions, so I will ask only two. One, you might have heard of Uncle Lewa Yeni speaking. In his 31 minutes of contribution he made, there is one thing that really distressed me out. He said that as the governor of Warab State, in order to bring back the money from Juba for Chapter 1. Chapter 1 means the money spent for the salaries. He had to deal with layers of bureaucracies within the Ministry of Finance. And he wouldn't succeed until and only when he commit 20% of the people's of Warab's salary to the bills in the Ministry of Finance. That is when he can be given the salary, the rightful money of the people of the state of Warab. He had to bribe the other officials in order to have the people of Warab paid. That came as a result of the centralized system of governance in our country. I went through your manifesto. In your agenda number 1, that would then qualify to be what chapter 4 or presentation or submission number 4. There is a word federalism. You guys have federalism there, but not at length. But at least you mentioned it in there. If we were a federated state, there would have been nothing that would make people of Warab had the government to go and deal with those needs and those bureaucracies in Juba. Warab as a state would have been able to raise its own revenue and pay its own people right there in Warab. That is, but
His network is breaking down.
Biar Ajak, you just put it out there. Yes. How about now? How about now? Please?
Okay, good. It's good now.
Okay. Okay. Dr. Biar Ajak, you have seen now what the centralized system of government have done to us. You have heard Olewa Yanyi speaking. Dr. Biar has a mind. Do you believe in federalism? Do you think that we, in our own villages, should govern ourselves? Because we even implement the agenda of the SPLM of taking town to the villages. How can the town go to the villages if the government in the villages is not allowed to finance itself? Then if we cannot be allowed to even finance our own government in our own state, if we cannot be allowed to raise our own revenue and pay our own stuff, how is the town going to come to the village? That's question number one. Question number two, Dr. Biar Ajak, we were people before there was a state. Meaning what? We were communities before there was something called country. We were confederal people along the Nile Valley. We were Dinka, we were Nuer, we were Bari. We were all the rest of the tribes that you see in our republic today. And we as people existed on a land. Each and every community had its own land. When I look at your manifesto, the word land is mentioned 14 times. But it is not clear, according to the Revive South Sudan Party, who should own the land, to whom does the land belong? Yes, in the argument of the SPLM, the land belongs to the community. Dr. Biar, in your party, is that the same decision? Or do you recognize that we the people, own the land, and then we are the one who created the state? Is it the state that owns the land, or we the people who own the land, according to the policies of the Revive Party of South Sudan? These are few questions I'd like to share. I know you're exhausted. I have a long list of questions that I would have asked. Some of which would have been, by the time you attempt to answer them, would benefit the rest of the people who did not have the chance to look at the manifesto. But for now, I will stop there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Wal. Go ahead, Dr. Biar.
Well, thank you so much, my colleague and my comrade, Peter Moranyar. Is a veteran of the Red Army. Is someone that has put his skin in the struggle of for better South Sudan since a very young age. Let me appreciate you, my brother, and thank you for all your dedication, and to also to encourage you to continue with that spirit. This nation is a great country. The best is yet to come. Definitely, we have to remember those things. Those were promises that were given to us. And we have every right to hold people accountable when it comes to the execution of those promises. And if people don't want to remember, we as Red Army, we have enough power and manpower and ability to make sure people hear us. So I have no doubt that people are going to hear us, and we are going to fulfill all those promises about us. The question about, you asked a very good question. Absolutely. How can town go to the villages if the resources are all in Juba? And in fact, since that slogan was coined, taking town to the village, no single town has been taken to any village in South Sudan. Nowhere. Maybe Waniga has built something here in his village around Juba, but that's it. If you go to Riek Machar village in Lair, what is there? Go to Kirmayadit village in Awan, what is there? Any village in South Sudan. In fact, the villages are more dead now than they were in 2005. So we have to really be honest. What Governor Aleu described is a reality. That is the way it has been. There are individuals that go and hide themselves in hotels. They're supposed to be in their offices. And you have to go and meet with them, negotiate with them, give them kickbacks. That's what I heard about the Ministry of Finance. Obviously, as I mentioned to you before, I've never gone there to go and look for money. But this is the story that I hear from all the South Sudanese. people. It's worse even if you are a contractor that is to be paid from the Ministry of Finance, if you're a business person. Even terrible if you're an international business person, because then what is the point of you being there? That has to change, and it requires political will. It requires political will from the top. This is why we are skeptical when ministers of finance are changed and nothing changed. We're not going to go anywhere. And that leadership has to come from the president. If he's unable to provide that leadership, other South Sudanese are willing to do that. And this is why we are so excited about the election, because we want to remind the people of South Sudan that they have other options. They don't have to be ruled by Salva Kiir. They can be governed by a new group of people that are willing to work together. The question you ask on land is a very important one. And I want to be extremely honest with all the people of South Sudan. We have nowhere else that people will be brought that will come and fix this country. And this country has so many problems. Some of them are very complex. But we have to be willing to address them as one nation, one people. Land is for our development. We are not going to build development on air or in water. It will have to happen on land. And that is why we are a country. It's because of that land. Now we are having all these fights about land, when in reality, we are using only 11% of the land. Only 11% of the land in South Sudan is being used. Nearly 90% of it is just standing idle, not being used by the people. And we are fighting over the 11%. This is a problem. We need a government that can now come and create rules and systems around which these assets can be opened up, and it can be used both for agriculture, for investment, for research, for all kinds of things, so that we make prosperity in our country. This requires leadership, and that is why we put out that manifesto. Now, how specific policies are going to happen, I cannot tell you now, because as I told you, manifesto was written by many people, and this party is going to have a lot of people in it. So we hope that people like you, Peter Moranyar and others, are able to join this party, and we come and formulate those kind of policies that will actually improve the condition of our people. It's not what I'm going to say as a person, but what we can do together. So we will be meeting tomorrow as Revive South Sudan Party, and we will begin forming committees that can now do proper research, talk to our people, and ask them, what do they think is going to be the best way to address some of these problems? Because the issue of land is very complex, it's very sensitive. We want to make sure that we are listening to every single voice. And we want to make sure that what we come up with is something that we can replicate everywhere, something that will form a basis of a policy that will be uniform and will be applied across the country uniformly. My own personal opinion, what I can tell you is this. I find it a contradiction that land belongs to communities and is owned by the communities, but what is under the land belongs to the government. Right? So if you take, for example, now, land belongs to the communities, but the oil belongs to the government. Land belongs to the communities, but the gold belongs to the government. How is that practical? How can you have the oil if you don't have the land? And you already have now other countries that are encroaching into the territory of South Sudan. So if you go in Kenya, the Ilemi Triangle. Ilemi Triangle is for Taposa. It has oil, and Kenya is trying to take it because of the oil. So now if you let Kenya take the land, are you sure you're going to take the oil? Will you get the oil when the land has been taken? And if we all say the land is for Taposa, then is Taposa going to fight with Kenya and make sure that that territory of South Sudan is not taken? We have to go back and remember why this thing was formed. That policy was to prevent North Sudan from selling our land. It was not so that other South Sudanese cannot use the land. If we make that policy to be the norm, our entire country will be taken by the neighbors. Because a Dinka person in Rumbek will say, why will I go and die for a Taposa land in Kapoita? And then a Nuer guy in Nasser will say, why would I go and die for mile 14 for a will in northern Barghazal? Land has to be owned by all the citizens of South Sudan. But how exactly we are going to do that, that requires all of us to sit. But it's also important to know that as communities, we have settled. The boundaries of most communities are very clear. And it's not okay for one community to migrate into the land of another community and try to take it over by force. We know that there are problems of security. We know there are problems of climate change. We are aware of them. And we have developed a program to address that, focusing primarily on building canals that will take water away from the areas that are susceptible to floods to areas where the water are in scarcity. Areas like in Boma, areas like in Kasngor, all the way to Kapoita. This is the plan that we have. And then what will that do simultaneously is expand the amount of land that we can irrigate, because we want to be able to grow all the 4 seasons through the irrigation and investing in the latest agricultural technologies. So we will need to be able to open up land. You know very well that the way the oil has been managed since the pipeline was built in 97 has been a complete disaster. There are many parts of the land now that will never be used again. They're so polluted. People that come from that place need to be resettled. So that we need to figure out how do we ensure that these people are settled. But we can address climate change. We can build climate resilient economy. This is the only choice that we have. And we can, back to Jonglei and Greater Upper Nile, we can build areas for pastures. The Sud is so big. The size of the Sud has tripled since 2019. And I am very confident that the Sud area is enough to maintain a vibrant cattle economy. And with the support from the government that actually cares, we will also be changing some of the processes that we use in terms of how we keep the cattle. You know, our cattle, they walk too much, well, Peter. We want them to be able to stay in one place, not walk too much, so that they get fattened. You know how expensive beef is in the West. Now, if you go to any good restaurant in DC or in New York City, just a meat like this, you are looking at $100. So, and our meat in South Sudan is grass fed. It doesn't have any hormones in it. So we can make deals and be able to ship this here. Have a relationship with a bunch of like farmers in places like Texas or in Arizona, and just ship them in, and we can compete with the beef industry. We can sell a bunch of them also to China. There is a very high demand in China for beef. So there is enormous, but we can do it in a way that cows do not have to go to Equatoria or in other parts of the country and destroy farms. We can do it in a way that farms are protected and the cattle economy can grow. This is an issue of livelihoods. And our government has completely failed in coming up with a program of livelihoods that can actually address the needs of the people of South Sudan. And we in the Revive South Sudan Party, these are the issues we are going to focus on to make sure the lives of our people are improving by developing the resources. Instead of us just fighting each other over like a very tiny thing, we expand the cake. We expand opportunities. We expand resources and access and use of them. And this is what this party has to offer. So I assure you that we are going to sit down as a group and rethink this, because you cannot have a country where the land is all for communities and it's a country whose borders are being threatened. Otherwise, nobody will be willing to die for those borders. If only the land in Ilemi Triangle is just for Taposa, then why are those other tribes going to fight there? There has to be something in it for it. Otherwise, all our country will be grabbed by the foreigners. So let us think about this country is for all of us. Let's not think about this is the land Bitabari and Beled Bitabari, or this is the land of Bor, and this is for Bor, or this is for Shuluk. No, it's for South Sudanese. And any person that has a need to use these resources can use it. But also we have to regulate how our communities interact so that every community still believe that they belong and that they're able to protect areas that are important to their own history and their own cultures. So we are going to forge this together. These are just my personal opinions, not the position of the Revive South Sudan Party, because we will have to sit down with all experts and extend invitations to a lot of our colleagues that have views on these projects to join us and to be in these committees so that they can share the expertise with all of us and we make use of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pierre. Let us move to the Wilson. Wilson, Tonakut, go ahead.
Yeah, I would let my note.
Wilson, we cannot hear you.
Are you hearing me?
Your network is breaking down.
Yeah. I'm signal here. Oh.
So you got a signal?
Yeah. Are you hearing me?
Okay, now it's good. Yes.
All right. Let me try it again. I think I'm under the bridge here. Maybe it's gonna shut up. Anyway, I see the signal again. Are you hearing me? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
All right. My question, before question, I would say, sorry, statement. You know, Ajak, you are made for a lot of ideas as for you, as a member of. Sort of my work that was. Still, we can hear you. No. خلاص وصلنا على بال ما وصل ويلسون نحول لمحل أحسن مش نخلي وصل فلول يواصل. Can you speak again? Hello?
Oh, also, you're having a really bad, poor network. So.
Yeah, guys, let it go. Just pass me.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Zero, if you have a, you can, this is your turn right now. Go ahead.
No, actually, I was going to ask almost the same question that one asked upon the distribution of financing in the country, you know, how to control the wealth and businesses, or, you know, just about governments actually not controlling the wealth. Because it's supposed to go back to building institutions. So I wanted Dr. Biar to elaborate more how they're going to build the institution, even though يعني ممكن نتخيلها we can, you know, just maybe say, oh, we're going to build institution, but we really want to hear him telling us how, because our government right now is, you know, lacking that. There is no institution in the country, and therefore everything in the country falls under the hands of government officials. So I wanted him to actually explain to us what difference would they make on building or changing that fact. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, Dr. Peter, go ahead and answer that. So that's the last one. So go ahead.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, my sister. Thank you again, and I appreciate your participation in this discourse. Um, as I said to you before, this party we are building is for all of us, and we are going to be working in committees. We form committees to review a lot of different things. Each of the 9 agenda points that you see in our manifesto, we will have a committee that will be working on how to translate this into actual action. This will be a priority for us. So we invite all our members and all the other experts that are interested in changing these things to join us and to be part of the conversation so that they sit at the table. But here is what we are going to do. We have a vision. That vision is laid out in the manifesto. And I encourage you, my sister, if you have not had a chance to read the manifesto, please do so. It can be sent to you. There are members that are following this live conversation that have access to it. They can share it. Please read it very seriously, take notes, read it very carefully. The vision is laid out there. But beyond the vision, through the Revive South Sudan Party, we are now going to build the structure. And we are going to organize ourselves the way that political parties are actually supposed to organize themselves. Right now, we are going to be working through the committees, focusing primarily on mobilization and on civic education, with the goal of reaching convention. We will also draft our constitution so that it is ready. The structures will be clear. When we go to the convention, we will actually vote. And then we have working committees on agenda. These are policy committees. There will be one that focus on the economy, one focus on different things. And as we go through the election process, we will be sharing our vision and how we are organized. When we come in, there will have to be reform. Primarily, civil service, which is what you need, is really the engine that runs the government. In South Sudan, it doesn't function. If you listen to that story that Alena Young was telling, civil service is corrupted, especially in the Ministry of Finance and some key institutions. And we know the history of this. When we came in 2005 after signing the CPA, there was what was called the Coordinating Council of Southern Sudan. This was something that Riek Machar had actually established when he was with the Khartoum. And then now when he defected to the SPLA, we had what we call the Coordinating Council of New Sudan, the CANs. When we came into the government, we were supposed to use the CAN as the foundation to build the civil service. But for whatever reason, we end up building on the Coordinating Council of Southern Sudan. And that was something that the Jalaba and those of the militias were using to run the government in Juba. And in it, there were people that were completely unqualified that were put there. So you have now in the system people that are unqualified, people that are unqualified. And then because of the nepotism in the government, relatives are put and they are promoted without having the necessary qualification. We have to change this. Without a proper civil service, you cannot run a government because it's the civil service that actually plan the government. And we have to be able to provide this plan. We will send it to you. Even Madid Majak, he has it, the manifesto. I see someone was asking. Even Madid Majak himself has it, so we will send it to you. We are building our website. It's not yet ready, but it should become ready in the next couple of days. And then we will put the manifesto on the website. But now we can share it to you on WhatsApp. There is also our Facebook page. Join our Facebook page and then send a message to the Facebook page, the Revive South Sudan Party Facebook page. Send a message and share your number. The manifesto will be sent to you. So when we come to the government, we have to reform the civil service because we have to put in competent young people there. We have to do a proper screening. Those who are unqualified, we will have to either put them for training or remove them and put them into other different things. But we have to make sure the government functions, the government deliver. Because civil service has to be professional. Just the same thing like the army, the same thing like the intelligence services. You want to have people that are qualified to be the one in those institutions. Otherwise, you're not going to achieve anything. So we are going to do that. And we will do it with there will be a committee that will be focusing on the civil service reforms. And they will go through a lot of deliberations. They will talk to the experts, and then there will be a detailed plan. These plans will be releasing them. And this is the beautiful thing about political campaign. You also release policies based on what is needed by the people. So now we are focusing primarily on launching the party, building the basic skeleton of the party, our logo, our flags, and all of that, all of those things. Our website, the manifesto is ready. We are going to be forming now committees so that we develop party position on different things, so that we do the membership drive. We welcome new members. We're going to focus on branding. So we'll be branding out our party. We'll be doing rallies and activities that we'll be doing in the country to raise the awareness about our activities. And then we'll go to convention. But along the way, we will be releasing policy documents on different things, natural resources, on mining, how we're going to build manufacturing. This is so central to our campaign. Made in South Sudan. We want products where it would be said, made in South Sudan. And it's not just only for our own personal consumption as South Sudanese, but we want to sell these things to other countries. So we're going to make this country to be a beacon of economic renewal for the entire region. And we are going to connect the Eastern Africa with Western Africa. We're going to connect to Central African Republic, to Congo, to Sudan, and to Ethiopia. This is a market of some 600 million people. And we have an opportunity to be in the center of it. Our people are hardworking. Our people are innovative. Our people are resilient. It's time to really harness the ideas, the unity, and use that to take the country forward. So I invite all of you, my brothers and sisters who have been part of this conversation, to reflect. Think about your own personal journey, what it has meant for you to come to where you are, and how that journey, that personal journey of yours, has rhymed with the journey of our country, and how at this particular moment, you and your country can come back again in a spirit of hope, in a spirit of progress, in a spirit of collaboration. We must join hands to rescue South Sudan and bring about a new era for our country. We are ready. This is what God prepared us for. We went through the struggle so that we could be ready at this particular moment and come forward with such a bold agenda. Let us stop all the nonsense. We are not looking backward. Let no one be afraid that we are going to revenge. We are not going to revenge. We are not going to come to attack anybody. We are only looking forward, and we want to move forward with our people, and we want them united. Doesn't matter what their tribes are, where they come from. Let's unite in the spirit of revival to revive that patriotism, that unity that propel us to form the new nation of South Sudan. May God bless all of you. May God bless the Republic of South Sudan.
Thank you so much, Dr. Peter Biar Ajak, for the last 4 hours that you spent with the people of South Sudan. And for those of you who cannot have a chance of...
Can I try now?
I think we come to conclusion. So he put in his last statement. So yeah, he's running out of time. So I don't know if you have another 30 minutes, Peter Biar, if you can able to join us.
Unfortunately, I have to run, my brother. But I'm happy to come back again, because we really want to organize a show that focus on the manifesto, because we really want to go through it with all our people.
Thank you. Wilson, maybe that time. So he's running out of time. He's been here for 4 hours and he have other commitment. Maybe next time. Thank you, guys. I'm sorry for those of you who didn't put in your last one because it's too long. It's a long hours. The show is supposed to be 1 hour, but we went to 4 hours. So thank you, guys. Have a wonderful night. Thank you again, Dr. Peter Biar Ajak, for coming in to Let's Say Media. See you next time.
kubolo makur kumajong makur abere madik kaganyo ba kabingo pinong anyo bagarden kikaching palto agarden mabo kuting palto kubolo makur kumajong makur abere madik kaganyo ba kabingo pinong atija jengajwe abu jajwir abu yeloy abu jajwir abu yeloy bu jajwir bu bijal Amerika abu jajwir bu bijal China abu jajwir bu bijal London abu jajwir bu bijal ke Dubai abu jajwir abu yeloy
Toyina Pierre wala rumbe, Kayin Ping William. Toyina Will wala Pibor, Kayin Ping William.